Well, it's in the blue. It's in the wooden box by the computer. Well, this is going to be an interesting stream and a little bit off the cuff. Today, I'm going to talk about a bit of the history of the different collectible card games that have been spun out of the Lord of the Rings.
Nobody's here yet.
No, nobody's here yet, but I guess this is on theme or on brand, at least in part. Did I get the front in the front? Almost. There we go. Last time I checked the poll we had on our community tab, I was in second place, but not anywhere close to Brinley, who apparently wears this far better than I do.
Oh man.
I think it's the cuteness factor that's just taken over any possibility of my ever catching up. She is definitely far cuter than I am. In any case, let's see. Where to begin? I've been playing card games since around 1995. And Magic the Gathering first came out in 1993. Lord of the Rings was written long before that. It took Tolkien quite a while to get it finalized. He'd written The Hobbit first. This was the copy that I had. I think I got this around the end of high school. I remember hearing about it a lot from one of my friends in high school who was really digging into it at the time. And I read it. This was my copy. I've read through this, at least 5 or 6 times. I have a couple of other copies too. And that's how I got it, was one book edition to begin with. And I finished it my first year of university, probably in the fall, in the start of the school year, because I loved it and dug into it and got into a lot of other things too afterwards. But it was my first introduction to the story was through the book. And I've seen how the book...
You and Ezra are tied again.
Okay. I've seen how the book has changed in its adaptations. I went back and saw the old 70s cartoon version of Lord of the Rings, which cut the end short, and then later they did another project to try to wrap up Return to the King. It's very goofy, very fun. But they keep changing little things. Hey, Becca. Thanks for coming. I don't think I'm going to wear this for the whole thing. It's just a little bit too cumbersome. But changes in the story when they put it into movies were stuff like they took out Glorfindel's character, meeting the hobbits and getting them safely to Rivendell, helping Aragorn, and replaced him in the first animated version with Legolas. And then when they did the Peter Jackson trilogy, they replaced his role with Arwen. And so that's a character who's got a fairly big role in the early chapters, doesn't happen much later in the book, so they replaced him in the movies with other characters who do have more continuing role to cut down on the number of speaking characters. Yeah, I wouldn't blame you either.
It's also hot.
Well, it is actually. This thing acts a little bit like a radiator and sucks the heat out of you a bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's one advantage of it. It has other disadvantages, but that is one slight advantage. And so changes like that happen whenever you have a shift in medium. I've played board games, I've played card games, I've done all kinds of stories, which you see its influence everywhere. I've seen its influence in Warhammer, I've seen its influence in Hero Quest, I've seen its influence in Magic the Gathering, I've seen its influence all over the place. So I'm going to start with the first card game that I'm aware of that was ever based off the property from Lord of the Rings. And that was from Iron Crown Enterprises, the old Middle-earth card game. Here's the Gandalf from it. Rather stately fellow. In the this is second edition copy, so it's got a blue border. First edition had black border for the Wizards set. Then there were other sets that released. And eventually, one of the sets that came on was the White Hand. So, looking at what happened from the bad guy perspective, was big in the lidless eye and then the white hand. And then you got corrupt versions. So what if Gandalf had fallen to the allure of the ring? And so this is the version of him under that scenario. And in later sets, you could play as the bad guys, and you got characters for the ring wraiths and things like that. So I'm going to walk through some of the art and presentation. I'm not an expert at the gameplay. I tried to play it a couple times. It is one of the most complicated card games I've ever tried to play. It's got lots of detail that it pulls in, all kinds of stuff from the books that gets overlooked in other places. But in order to squeeze that all in, they did make the rules rather complicated, because there's a lot of places, a lot of things, a lot of factions you have to take into account, and they're all over the place. Let's see.
Do you want to switch?
Flip this around for now.
Okay. You got it?
I thought I did. Let's try this again.
There you go.
We still alive? I think so.
Yep,
All
you're good.
right. So this was limited edition, The Wizards. This was my very first starter deck. It's had a few tweaks over the years because I tried to make it run a little bit better, and I did get some other cards from other sets. But I kept this to the limited edition. Later, I acquired some of the blue bordered stuff. I never had a Gandalf until recently. This is a single that I picked up much later. There are artists in here. If you follow a lot of artists, this one's Mark Poole. You'll recognize his name if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering. He did a lot of the early Magic as well. And you've got Grey Havens. This is a site. So there's two different systems they came up with. The initial one, which was the one that I tried to use most, was from any given location, you can go to the nearest freehold, or if you're playing the bad guys later, Darkholds. So, site path from Rivendell, so to go from here to Rivendell or vice versa, you got to go through 2 wilderness and a freehold, or a hero stronghold type place. To go to Edhurl, man, I'm horrible at some of these names, sorry. You got some wilderness, 4 sea sites, so you're going by ocean quite a bit, and then a freehold to get there. So here's the other freehold, and you can see site paths there to get from there to the Grey Havens, here, or to Lorien. So you can bounce around between the freeholds, and then from the freeholds, there's sight lines to get to other places. Here's Mount Graham. Closest one is Rivendell. So you have to go to Rivendell, and then you have to go through a wilderness and a Shadowhold to get to Mount Graham. And when you get there, it's got orcs. So 3 strikes of prowess 6. And this is just to get around, by the way. This is before you factor in your enemy's going to play stuff to try to stop you. And you can play here minor or major items. So here's Bag End. Nearest one is Rivendell. There's no automatic strikes if you're playing with the heroes. But you got to go through 2 wilderness and a stronghold to get there. Lighthold. Here's a Shadowhold and a Stronghold and a Wilderness to get to Minas Tirith from Lorien. You've got Ragostabel, where Radagast dwelt. You've got the Bandit Lair. Bunch of different locations. Here's Moria. Moria again, who's got orcs. 4 strikes with power 7 that'll come after you. And it's a Shadowhold itself. And you have to go through Wilderness to get there from Lorien. Here's Rivendell. I love the art on a lot of these. There is the art on these. This came out before the films came out, so it doesn't have the influence that you see in later games from the films. But they're all drawing from the common descriptions from Tolkien, and sometimes from other artists who've been doing work on these in a long time, which sometimes get pulled into these projects. The recent Magic the Gathering pulled in the Hildebrand brothers for their last holiday release. And we'll see as we go on here. You got artists. Well, here's another Magic the Gathering artist, Quentin Hoover. Well, he's done a lot of
Are
other
you
things
gonna
too.
want the?
Rob Alexander, more familiar names. And
Are you
yeah.
gonna? Are you gonna want the magic Lord of the Rings stuff out there?
I doubt I'll get that far in this one, but we'll see.
Okay.
Here's Celeborn, or Celeborn, so Galadriel's husband. He's got 6 points, and he has direct influence 1, so he can control someone who would only have, say, the mind of 1, and you're trying to gather enough points to win the game. I believe the game was to 20 or so. And there's his attack and defense type stats. And he's +5 direct influence that is only usable against Galadriel. So he can help you bring Galadriel out. And they've all got quotes too. Most of the quotes are from The Lord of the Rings, and it'll give the volume, or The Hobbit in some sets becomes more prevalent. And there's different sites you can play different types of items. I showed you major, minor. Where's Hobbiton? Where's
I don't know any of the.
well, the Gladden Fields. So here you could play a gold ring, for example, and that's usually one of these minor rings, which under the right conditions you can test and see what type of ring it is, to get more points and more abilities out of it. So that was a whole strategy. One of the strategies was to get better rings. Now here's Theoden. He's worth a couple points himself, and he has 3 direct influence himself and 2 direct influence against the Riders of Rohan faction, so he gets even more influence with them. You got Elven Cloak, very useful when traveling through wilderness, etc. Prince Imrahil. This guy was left entirely out of the films. I think they did do some costume design for him, but didn't actually use him much. But in the book, he's a very important character in the chapters related to Minas Tirith. And yeah, he comes from Dol Amroth, leading forces that come to reinforce the city. That whole section of getting reinforcements from the surrounding townlands and sending away people who aren't going to fight to protect them, that's completely left out of the film, and I think that's just a tragedy. But here's good old Prince Imrahil, and he does show up in some other card games and things later. Anborn, again, one of Faramir's Rangers. The Mirror of War. This is a very important item in the book, and other than the cooperative board game, where it's also a strong item, this is the only other place that I've seen it show up in any of these other games. Elrond gives this to Gandalf before they leave Rivendell, and Gandalf shares it out to the company in dangerous situations to give them vigor and encouragement. And I think they get about 4 uses out of it before it's exhausted. And the last of which I think happened somewhere in the Mines of Moria. Like, it got them that far. Very, and it's not even mentioned in other places, which I find rather disappointing. So here's a Riders of Rohan faction that can give you 3 points toward your victory total. So you have to go around to these different sites, and the different ones can only be played at certain places. And in order to get them on board, you need to have enough influence and things like that.
That's the question.
Where are we? Sam is my favorite Lord of the Rings character. There are so many good characters in Lord of the Rings. Sam is a great one for sure. Oh boy.
In the movies, it's Sam for sure. I love
Yeah,
Sam.
there's a lot of good characters, and I tend to dwell on ones that give me more pause to think or that get overlooked. So,
Although Tom
I've had
Bombadil in the books was good.
He was pretty zany in the books. I liked him, and he does give you a lot to try to figure out because he doesn't fit the most easily into Tolkien's universe either. Here's Alatar. Alatar, Palando, Radagast, Gandalf, and Saruman were the 5 wizards that you could play as, sort of, and you could bring out a personal version of yourself to get more direct influence with different factions, but that also made you more vulnerable because you were then a character who could be killed, and if you were killed, well, that was not good for your plans. So it was a double-edged sword to play a character card. This is, like I showed the Gandalf one before. So the names Alatar and Palando, I think, are from some of Tolkien's more minor works that were published posthumously. So they're not characters that you encounter in the books other than a reference to the blue wizards, the 2 blue wizards. So he was one of those. We got giant spiders, something you can play against your enemy if they try and cross certain site types to get to places. And it does 2 strikes if the body check for a non-wizard character is wounded by a giant spider equals the character's body, the character is discarded. So the formatting's a little bit awkward there. And you can see the date at the bottom. This game came out in 1995, which is around the same time I started playing Magic. There were a number of expansions. I think the latest ones I've got go to 97. There may have been more past that, but it was fading out a bit by then as far as I can tell. Here's Robin Smallborough, one of the sheriffs who Sam calls over and has a word with when they get back to the Shire for the burning of the Shire. He's an interesting fellow in the books for sure, although he's not a big character by any means. Here's Radagast. Again, they worked him into the Hobbit films in a rather large way. But in The Lord of the Rings, his character kind of got cut and replaced by a moth. It was very unfortunate. A worthy wizard has much lore of herbs and beasts. There's the flavor for him. I do like the portrayal. They had a fun time with him in The Hobbit. I think they went a bit on the ridiculous side with him, but he is an eccentric character, as far as I can tell, in any version that I've seen. So, just usually more of a recluse. Despair of the Heart. This is one of the more troubling scenes that they tend to just fast forward through in the films. On the Dead Marshes, Lure of Nature, Eowith, another character that sort of gets caught from the films, the lady in the Houses of Healing who came up with the prophecy that the hands of the king are hands of a healer, passed down through old tales and proved to be true and helped prove that Aragorn was who he was for long. Another one of the Outlanders who came in with his men to support Minas Tirith before the siege. Tower Guard, Galador, again, all these characters that just never quite made. And there were things that I got reading through this that I kind of missed my first time or two reading through the book, and they helped point some stuff out to me too. Here's one of the Dwarven rings. You recall there were 7 rings for the dwarves. Oh, time to take this off apparently.
Well, I thought you might become more comfortable without it on.
I might.
You can put it back on later if you want.
Since I'm not on camera, ouch. Yeah. This is an awkward
In case anybody's
delay.
wondering what's happening, Gary's just taking off the
chainmail because it is a little awkward. But yeah, the 7 rings, they're all portrayed, I believe, in this set or followed up in close order. And they've got slightly different abilities and uses and conditions that you have to use them. Elrohir, Eladan, and Elrohir were Arwen's brothers, also completely cut from the film. So, whoops, we got art by April Lee. So I don't know if she was related to Stanley or not, but he was one of the ones who helped with the design for the book for sure. Sorry, for the films. You got wargs, wolves, two strikes, and again, not super easy conditions, but not super hard either. Orc patrol, much more conditions. Now these can be played directly at dark holds, shadow holds. I think this one is like conquered holds, or a sight path like this. Basically, is how that works. Abductor, rescue the prisoners. This one's coming from, I think, Bilbo rescuing the dwarves from the spiders' webs. Gloom, lure of nature, lure of senses. More other rings. Gates of the dawn, or gates of the morning, was important to allow certain things to happen. I don't remember a lot of the details on that, but I remember it was a rather important card with how the deck.
Morning is nice.
It is. There's a risky blow. It's sort of a battle card. Muster from the Hobbits. There's the Carabane.
Do you have
Bert
an extra one of that
is one of the trolls.
From my stolen card binder?
Which, the gates?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Boo.
I might have a blue bordered one. I'd have to check, but
Boo. I want to steal cards from a stolen cards binder.
I have most of my doubles actually come from the dragons, because I was able to get quite a number of packs of the dragons at one point, and it's a smaller set. So,
That guy did not know that Lord of the Rings had cards.
Yeah, like this was, again, Iron Crown Enterprises was the company that made this product when it came out. Where's the... Yeah, there it is. ICE, Iron Crown Enterprises. And the first edition came out in 1995. And then later, you can see in the background here, Decipher made this version starting when the films came out. And all its art is just screenshots from the movies, or later they got some other special costumes and stuff, access to scenes that weren't in the film, and costumes that weren't used. Special pieces even made for them, I think, by the company Weta Workshops that built stuff for the films, and they worked hand in hand as the movies were being made, at least initially.
Oh, Lucas took his lights down.
So those are sort of the first two that I'm aware of. This whole game and that whole game were made specifically based on the Lord of the Rings.
And then there's
and that one is much more simple and easy to play.
And then there's this one.
Yes, but this here, which came out last year, is Magic the Gathering. They just released a set specifically for themed around the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
And the way they named this, Tales of Middle-earth, the Lord of the Rings, I'm guessing that they're going to have other sets later. Other Tales of Middle-earth, The Hobbit, or Tales of Middle-earth, The Rings of Power, or whatever the new series is called. Or, they'll do maybe the Silmarillion. I'm guessing eventually they made some sort of contract where that's going to be an option. But those are the three main games that I'm aware of. This one was the first, then they came out with that one based around the film, Let This Focus Again, and then the Magic the Gathering set. Again, it's the regular Magic game. They've just allowed it to be using the themes and arts and stuff based on Lord of the Rings for a set, and perhaps more sets in the future, we'll see, based on Lord of the Rings for that. But I wanted to start from the beginning before we get to the Magic the Gathering a little bit more, and go through how this has developed as a card game over the years and how it's been portrayed. Yeah, yeah. That I bring the cards up here when I want it to focus on them more. So here's some more. Just get through this pile here for the first edition. Here's Bill the Pony, useful card.
I love Bill the Pony.
Yeah, and Bill the Pony has been portrayed in just about everything I can think of as well. Nice little ally. Test of Lore. Use this to test a gold ring to try to find out what type of ring you've got when you find one of these gold rings. There's the Ford. Warning. Lucky Strike. Cram. Now here's a fun one. I think this is from the Dragons expansion.
Is there a Shadowfax card?
I think there is. I don't know if I have one because it's probably a rare.
I want it.
But Cram here, I always thought was, being someone who likes to do a little baking, interesting. If you want to know what Cram is, it is biscuitish, keeps good indefinitely, and is supposed to be sustaining, and is certainly not entertaining, being in fact very uninteresting, except as a chewing exercise. And Cram is given that's from The Hobbit, that quote, but it's given sort of a one-off comparison in the book for Lord of the Rings by Gimli when he first receives the Elven Way bread, the Lembas.
Ask everyone how the video is for them, because my internet on my iPad is being stupid.
If anyone's having trouble seeing this, please let us know, or if things aren't coming through clearly so we can try and adjust things.
My iPad's just not connecting very good.
Yeah, but yeah, Gimli at first thinks the Lembas is Cram and gets corrected quickly when he finds out it's a much more sustaining and useful item. So anyway, that was mostly cards from the Wizards, first edition there. We've got, I'll show quickly, just thumb through some of the second edition. Oops. Oh no, sorry, this isn't the second edition. This is the second edition.
The Gathering has Shadowfax cards.
It sure does.
They're not very expensive.
I mentioned there's two different location systems. I'll just show what some of the others look like. The others, instead of going from sites into strongholds and back and forth to different strongholds to get to sites, they had just map locations, Leben, Linen, and Phalos, all the different places like this, horse plains, and there it was just listed which ones are neighboring it. Andras, Bay of Belfast, Lamdon, and Old Pugol Gap. So from here you could go to any of those. This is the type of site it is, and you could move around that way. I never actually used this system myself. I don't know if I had enough cards or if I would have been missing some. But this was the other movement system. Like I say, this game could be pretty complicated. Yeah, that's more of the same sites. Okay, that must have been my doubles of those. And I'll just thumb through these quickly because I did pick up more of the Wizards in Unlimited Edition. So you have things here, other locations that I wasn't using as well. Pelagir, Freyag Camp, Lasana Camp. More of the bad guys. Oops. It's a little bit awkward to handle here. Dude, just play Magic? Well, when I sit down to play a game, Magic is certainly one of the easier ones to play, but I love the history of card games, and I play about a dozen different card games. So, I like to see how one has influenced the other. Magic the Gathering is a great game in its way, but this game has actually got a lot in common with some old board games, sort of like the old Star Trek game does. Arouse Minions. Plague of Weights. Yeah, the barrel weights got also cut from the films as well. It's another whole interesting episode. Snowstorm. All these things they had to deal with. Trying to cut through to some of the more interesting ones. I know especially when we get to the hero cards, there was a few. There's Corpse Candles from the Dead Marshes, Brigands, Half Trolls of Far Harad. That's an interesting mention in the books, and they're never fully explained, but it's a very troublesome enemy. There's the horns.
Which did you prefer, the books or the movies? I know the answer.
Well, I prefer the books. I've got audiobooks as well, which I was going to pull up to show because there've been a few versions of those as well.
The Hobbit audiobooks were really good.
I prefer the Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit ones I've had
I thought the Hobbit ones was good.
were very awkward.
Oh no, it was the Lord of the Rings one, but then we got the Hobbit ones, and it wasn't the same.
Okay, here we're getting
right?
into the. No, it was a different different reader for one thing.
Yeah, the reader.
I've heard that Andy Serkis, who's done the he's done audiobooks for both The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings now.
Isn't that only on Audible though, or something like that? Though?
Oh, probably. Yeah, here's the Lidless Eye rule book.
That would
I've got
be awesome.
a Wizard's rule book here as well.
I think you would do a great job on that.
There's a lot of rules for these. Here's Barleyman Butterbur. He's obviously been one of the main characters in everything. Homesite Bree. Not the most influential character and not worth any points in himself. But useful in his way.
I do like the audiobooks though better than
Hama.
the actual book.
There's another Forlong, Malberg, Enborn. We've seen some of these. Bergil is an interesting character. He was the friend who showed Pippin around Minas Tirith and got him acquainted with the city and what went on there. And completely cut from the film, sadly. I do appreciate the films. I do like the movies very much.
I like the Lord of the
think
Rings
they
better
were
than the Hobbits.
pretty close to as well done as you could for an adaptation of the book into the movies. I'm not going to downplay that at all. It was quite an accomplishment. But they just cannot capture the detail that the novel had. The novel is much more well-rounded. A lot of the complaints people have about the films are explained in the book. Like, they just couldn't work everything in. The boy drew himself up proudly. I am Bergil, son of Beargrond. I could very well be. Yeah.
Salem's hair gets everywhere.
It does. Halbarad. That's one of the Rangers of the North. One of Aragorn's close kin. Orinmere, Orphan. Here's some of the Ents. You've got Skinbark. And Quickbeam. And Treebeard.
I thought they did the Ents really well in...
They did, but they had no other Ent characters except for Treebeard. He's the only one who speaks, the only one they interact with.
Yeah.
You never get to see Skinbark much in the book, but he's referenced.
Yeah.
It's told what happened to him. He was one of the leader Ents, what happened to his people, and why he didn't show up. Quickbeam looked after Merry and Pippin during most of the Entmoot.
Yeah.
And they got to know him that way. So... yeah, I prefer the books as well. Men of Northern Rohirrim, Men of Lebanon, Men of Dorian, all these different factions you can try and get on your side. Here's the Wosies. Again, they were completely cut from the films. They helped the Riders of Rohan get around the trap that was sent to keep them from getting to help in Gondor, which they cut that out completely. And sneak past them and get to the battle and surprise the Dark Lord's forces, who weren't looking to be attacked from that side because they had set a watch on the road. And these guys helped them circumvent that watch on the road. Athalas, used to help counter the black breath of the ring wraiths. Very important story element in the book, but I think they even cut that back in the Return of the King. It was only really mentioned in Fellowship in the films, wasn't it?
Which part?
Aragorn uses it to heal Faramir and Merry and Éowyn, but it's never mentioned by name at that point. He just heals them.
Yeah.
In the film, there's the Elf Stone.
That's neat. I like that art.
Yeah, that's what was carried by Aragorn, and that's what helped his people recognize who he was and name him and accept him as king. And another copy of the Mirror of War, which I've already talked. A couple copies of that, which I'd. Anyway, there was this Lady's Starglass, Daggers of Westerness, Sword of Gondolin. All these give different types of buffs. The Red Arrow to summon Riders of Rohan. Scroll of Isildur. Another couple of different versions of the gold ring, and different ones had different odds. Like this one might be the one ring, but only on a really good roll. Whereas this one, you had a better chance of being the one ring. Ent drafts could give a bonus to your characters. The Earth from Galadriel's Orchard. They completely skipped this. She gave her gifts to Sam in the film was just the rope, whereas in the book she gave him rope, and she gave him this box of dirt from her orchard. And after the scouring of the Shire, he was able to use this to restore some of the trees that had been cut down.
They didn't do that.
Exactly. They skipped the scouring of the Shire, so they skipped this box as well. So that's just another thing that. This was a good one because this was an element that I missed in the story the first time I read it. I knew that Saruman had studied long the craft of the rings.
Yeah.
And that was, to try to combat the enemy or whatever. I didn't realize that he'd been making his own ring. And this card helped point that out to me. In the second volume of the Lord of the Rings. And here's a quote from it. "And there he met me, and led me up to his high chamber." This is Gandalf speaking when he went to meet with Saruman. "And he wore a ring on his finger." Such a subtle detail. But he was a master in the lore of the rings, and he was trying his hand at the craft, apparently, trying to make his own rings to enhance his power, which is interesting. Here's Vilya. This is the ring Elrond had. Mightiest of the three. There's the quote at the bottom. Cracks of Doom, if you're trying to play a strategy to destroy the ring instead of just gaining lots of influence in this game, which is the most common way to win, I believe. But it's possible. You could win by destroying the ring. Fair Travels in the Wilderness, in the Borderlands, in the Shadowlands, all these different strategies that might come up. Old Road, helping you to get to places. Secret Passages, Quiet Lands, Rush Mountains. Let's see if there's something more interesting. Halfling Strength, Wizard Laughter, Wizard's Voice. Obviously, you need a wizard to play a lot of these wizard things. Another way to test a ring is the Wizard's Test. River Horses. That's the other thing. In the book, in the film, they make it look like Arwen summons the flood and the horses and everything. Where in the book, it's made clear this was a device set up by Elrond and his power, and probably those in his household as well, to bar the ford when need arose. Mm-hmm. And so it was them who set it off. Arwen wasn't even at the ford at that time. And the horse shapes that were added to the flood, that was what Gandalf's contribution was. Because he made the rushing waters appear like these horses as they came down.
Okay.
We've got Kindling of the Spirit. So trying to inspire. Oh, the Palantir. This is fun too.
Neat art. The
Palantir of Minas Tirith. So this is the one that was hidden away in the tower and was controlled by what's his name, Denethor, and that he was using to his own destruction in the end, sadly. Here's the Palantir of Orthnak, which Saruman was using and getting befuddled by through Sauron's influence, who of course had the one from the Tower of Minas Morgul. And the Palantir of Elostirion.
I don't know why this is like this.
Which was in the White Tower at the Grey Havens, and was the one that was not in accord to the with others, but looked only to the sea. So there's the 3 Palantir cards that I was able to get my hands on, and then you've got ways you can use the Palantir to give you advantage in the game as well. More tests, more tests. Far sight, persuasive words, more sort of strategic cards as we go there. But yeah, a friend or 3, bringing in some more dwarves, trying to keep people from getting too angry. I like the art on this one, the stars.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, and this is, it's an environment, modifies the flowers. Alternatively, if Gates of Morning, that other card you liked, is in play, until end of turn may treat different land types as others. So it can have an effect that way.
That would be a fun one to have a larger photo or like a picture on the wall.
It could be. We got the moon. And again, if Gates of Morning in play. So Gates of Morning is something which is can affect a lot of things. Reforging for the sword there. Align Palantir, so that's another Palantir card. Dreams of Lore. Rescue the prisoners. So that's all the stuff I have from the base set, basically. The next set that I got an amount of was the dragons. And so it came with this little rule insert. And it was based largely around hordes and dragons and a lot of stuff tied to The Hobbit, more strongly than Lord of the Rings. Let's do this in 2 stacks here. I've got a lot of doubles in this pile. There's some new locations. Locations where often there were dragons that had hidden out at some point in the past. We've got Galdor, another elf that got his own card from that Frodo met up with. On an errand from Glador, an elf from the Grey Havens who had come on an errand from Círdan the Shipwright. And I think he showed up even for the Council of Elrond. Return exiles, so very worth a lot of points if you're trying to get to 20. And again, very dwarf heavy. Men of Laketown, Men of Dale. There's more Cram. Thor's Map, which plays out in the Hobbit films as an important artifact, but you can see the difference in the portrayal there, the key in the map. Adamant Helm. Multiples, so it was probably a common. Arrows Shorn of Ebony. Scabbard of Chalcedony. This comes from the rhyme that Bilbo wrote in the House of Elrond, these items, and I think, again, that was skipped. Emerald of Doriath. Aragorn insisted on my putting in a green stone. He seems to think it important. That's never fully explained, I don't think, but it does foreshadow and come up with the whole Elfstone thing from earlier that we talked about, where he was recognized by this token by his own people. I think that's related. The Gold Belt of Lorien, which Boromir was given. Valiant Sword. Here's the Habergeon of Silver. Again from the rhyme. Magical Harp, one of the instruments that the dwarves played when they showed up at Bilbo's house and started singing. The Bow of Dragonhorn.
I actually really like that scene.
That scene was well done. In the Hobbit films, I don't like a lot of the stuff they did, but I think the introduction of the dwarves was very well handled.
And the singing scene, I really like their voices.
Yes, they did that very, very nicely. Wizard Staff, obviously, has to be used on a wizard. And it's a hoard item, so yeah, that's a whole nother thing. Getting items out of Dragon's Hoards is tricky. There's not at home, so cancel one dragon, drake, or troll automatic attack key to a site alternately if Gates of Morning is in play. Reduce the number of strikes of any automatic attack by 2. So, helps get you through those base attacks that some sites have. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, so like here, this one has a dragon strike. Most of these other news sites, dragon strike. It's the same site as before. Here's another one, a troll strike. But anyway, look more closely at it later. Reference to the Book of Masabel. Fast Asleep. Good old Smaug. Bounty of the Hoard. Getting some loot. That's to help you with sort of seafaring, as I recall. Nice art again. A lot of these I really appreciate in their way. Rune for Odd up the northern Arctic wastes. The elf path. The elves had their way of slipping past things. Washed and Refreshed, and the House of Tom Bombadil. So that's many turns and doublings, trying to throw people off your track. Forth he hasted, following, that's from the tale of Baron and Luthien. Untap a character in your wizard's company. Just a handy little effect, but they tie it into the story quite nicely. Many foes he fought. That's a reference to the fall of Boromir. Secret news. Again, that Gandalf is getting. From the elves in this case. Burglary. Poor Bilbo trying to find the missing stuff. Hey, come Merridol! With a hop and a bound, there he came into view a man, or so it seemed. And there's the introduction of Tom Bombadil.
That's cool.
Yeah. Dwarven Hoard. Another way to get hoard items. Marvels told. He tarried there from errantry, and melodies they taught to him, and sages old him marvels told. I like all the... That's one thing that's great about Lord of the Rings, is all the sort of poems and song lyrics that he works into the story. The audiobook that I have of it... shoot, what's the name's guy who did that?
I don't remember.
Anyway, he sings all those songs, and he does a great job. I love that version.
Oh.
So, Pledge of
I wonder
Conduct.
if my Amazon account would remember what.
Hey there, yonder. Calling back
That's
the
too
horses.
far ago.
Vanish in the sunlight. Here's another art by Mark Poole. And there's poor old Frodo, who was going to considering using his ring and disappearing out of the Barrow Mound and abandoning his friends when they were captured. But he didn't, and instead he called on Tom, and they were saved. So that's completely cut from the film. Master of wood, water, or hill. Good old Tom. No one has ever caught old Tom walking in the forest, wading in the water, leaping on the hilltop. Under light and shadow, he has no fear.
There's some songs for him too.
There's another version of Gollum from before the films came out, just based on the descriptions. And
I like the movie version better.
yeah, fair enough, but it is neat to see some of the different portrayals based off the description. The original animated movie, I think, did a lousy job. It did capture a few elements that I think get overlooked sometimes, but it's just...
I always think Andy Serkis did an amazing job as Gollum too.
Yeah.
Like, he brought that character to life.
So, wielded twice. Warm now be heart and limb. Tom Bombadil encouraging the hobbits. A short rest. Gift of comprehension. Again, all the learning they did along their way. Lore of ages. Houses of healing. Alright. Tales of the Hunt. Dragon lore.
What was that other character? The guy that could turn into the beasts.
Bjorn.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, and here's a land drake. So we're getting into the bad characters now. A lot of drakes and evil creatures which could attack you. And that's what I remember this set for. On the bad side was a lot of drakes and dragons. And the drakes were usually, look at that, pretty easy to play. If you were just going through a wilderness or at a ruined hold, you might run into a light drake. 2 strikes of 8 prowess. They weren't very strong. Dragons were a lot stronger and a lot harder to play. Here's a winged cold drake. I like the art on this one too. Damon Welch. Well done. Rain drake. Here's a marsh drake. Ice drake. True cold drake. Little bit nastier. True fire drake. Quentin Hoover, I could have guessed that. Cave worm. Again, Hoover. Sea serpent. Lesser spiders. Dunlending raiders. Dire wolves. Carrion birds. Hobgoblins. A little bit more wilderness you have to be going through to find those. Wolf riders. Incite minions. Dragon's blood. Withered lands. Parsimony of seclusion. That's another thing that I really appreciate about some of these games too, and the Lord of the Rings itself, is just the vocabulary. Every so often you come across a word that you're not so familiar with, and you can either look it up or learn by how it's used, depending on the context. And yeah,
Blue dragon.
Yep. Well, I think it's a drake in this game. It might be a dragon. It's hard to tell from just the head for me.
What's the difference between a drake and a dragon?
Drakes are smaller.
Okay.
Sometimes they're portrayed as sort of more wyvern-like. They don't have all the features of a dragon.
Okay.
They're lesser worms or whatever.
I do like that. Ooh!
Fever of unrest. That's another nice art there. Subtlety of guile. This is where the dragons could trick ya. They weren't just good fighters.
How
they
many
were
extra
tricky.
of the dragon cards do you have?
Depends on the ones. The drakes I have more because they were commons.
I could sneak some of those into a Charizard
Prowess of
binder.
age. Prowess of might.
See if anybody notices.
Searching eye.
Ooh, I like that.
There's another searching eye. Dragon's terror. Dragon's breath. Dragon's sickness. There's the Master of Lake Town trying to sneak off with the gold. Couple of that. Cruel Caradras. That was another thing.
I like that
When they
art.
were trying to sneak across the mountains and had trouble and got stuck in the snow, they made it look in the film like that was Saruman doing it.
Yeah.
But really, it was just the mountain had a cruel nature to it that the dwarves had known for, centuries before that. But something about the mountain itself, which does not come across in the films at all. Left behind, worn and famished, sleepless malice, host of bats, noose of the sea.
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, people were caught at sea in a couple of the stories.
I like that art a lot.
Peril returned. Again, that looks like the barrow waits. Oh, here's more of this style of location. Now we're getting into some of the named dragons. In the Lord of the Rings itself, I think the only dragons that are actually named are Smaug, who Bilbo had dealings with. And
Yeah.
then there's a reference to the horn that Theoden gives Gimli, or not Gimli, Merry, came from the hoard of Scatha the Worm. I think those are the only two dragons named in the book itself, but in some of the other works there are other dragons named, and they do take some liberties with coming up with the names for things like dragons and ring wraiths, where there aren't that many, I think, in this game as well. But here's Itengast, a hunt. And for each of these dragons, I think in the base set, or maybe even this, I forget, but in one of the sets, you could get just the dragon. And then in this set, they had a hunt and at home versions of pretty much all of them. So this is Itengast, a hunt. We've got Smaug, a hunt. And they've all got different statistics and where you can play them and what they do, and you know. If Doors of the Night. Here's Scatha, a hunt.
Ooh, I like that one.
Here's another site here with a dragon. Oh, it's the same one as I showed you before. But again, each of these dragons has a home site, I think, that it can play at. And then other sites. So some of them are easier to play than others. Lakrunth, a hunt. And of course some are stronger than others too. And here's Lakrunth at home. So same dragon, whether it's out hunting or whether it's at home guarding its treasure, makes a difference. Ire Rock, another site with a dragon guarding it. I see, this is, again, I'm not sure how to pronounce these double dots above the vowels sometimes. Irkarax, a hunt, and this is a sea dragon.
I like that one too.
Yeah, so coastal sea regions.
I like the dragons.
The Isle of Ulrond. Skorba, a hunt, chasing down the poor Siberian tiger by the look of it.
That art is weird. It makes me look at it. It's kind of like trying to figure out what's the best orientation to look at the dragon. It's all weird.
Yeah. Here's Baranax, a hunt.
I like that one too.
Yeah, and again, this one is from up in the icy regions. Baranax at home. Same dragon again. Here's Agrbanar, and again, this one is not a hunt or at home, it's just the general version. Here's Agonar at home. Delomin at home. Dancing Spire. So I probably got these locations here because it's the home site for the dragon. It's been a long time since I've gone through and sorted these. But yeah. Yeah, Dancing Spire. Played at Dancing Spire has an additional automatic attack. So. Memories Stolen. Foolish Words. There's the Icy Touch. Dragon's Curse. Stormcrow. Now this art, I particularly, here's a John Howe, which is another artist who was a big inspiration for the film. And it also stood out to me because this is the art from the copy of my novel. Exact same picture that they adapted for this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm very pleased to have this on a card. And it's a common, I'm pretty sure, because I've got multiple of them. So. Thorough Search. Halfling Strength, Stealth, there's the stars again, Mountain Shadow, Twilight, Lost in the Borderlands, Weariness, Shield of Ironbound Ash, Palantir of Elesterion. There's the Blue Mountain Dwarves faction and some more sites. Carabine Ghosts. Okay. So that's my dragon stuff. What really got interesting to a lot of people was when they came out with the ability to play as the bad guys. Those are just more extras over there. So, this was the Lidless Eye, which I showed the rule book for. I used to have the deck box. I'm not sure where that's gone. Lidless Eye became notoriously hard to find just because it was so popular. 1997, you can see it was a little bit later for the release date. Foolish Words, Despair of Heart, Call of Home. The backs of these, by the way, there's two different backs. This is the back for most of the cards. The Lidless Eye. And then there's a different back for the locations. And they have backs that look like this, because that would be sort of a separate deck for getting around. Lost in the Borderlands, Lost in the Free Domains. And again, there's a lot of parallels with how you play, but the goals and such are a little bit different, and it's different trying to build up points for the Dark Lord than points for the Free Peoples. Aroused Denzians, The Long Winter, Dire Wolves, Giant Spiders, more giant spiders. Knickerbreakers. This card, I think I got out of a Scry magazine as a promotion. I just found it interesting. It doesn't actually do much damage, but it can be played somewhat easily, as I recall, and it just annoys and slows down their progress. And it's another episode, I think that shows us a clip in the movie of them struggling through a bog when they leave Bree, trying to get on their way. And it's, you know, one of the hobbits is a line, "What do they eat when they can't get hobbit?" That's about as much as they mention the Knickerbreakers, but it's a little bit more involved, in my memory at least, in the book. And here's a quote: "There were thousands of them. They squeaked all around, neek breek, breek neek, unceasingly all the night, until the hobbits were nearly frantic." That was just one of the types of bugs they had to deal with, aside from the biting ones. And these ones kept them awake at night, so, you know, it was a fun walk through the bog, I have no doubt. Ambusher. Lawless Men. Here's a Cave Drake. Wargs. Again, I tweaked this deck, obviously. You had Gondorian Men. So, they were a little bit different, being Easterling men, as not Easterling, but being sort of the good guys. It was a little trickier to get the points out of them if you could had to deal with them. Border Watch, same sort of deal. Ghouls, Wild Trolls, Half Trolls, Men of Dorthurion, Orcs of Ethilduoth. Now here we have Ring Wraiths. We got Ren the Ring Wraith, and again they had to basically make this up because there's only one Ring Wraith who's actually named, I think, in all of the stories that Tolkien himself wrote and left to us, and that was the second in command. I think it started with a K, like Condor. I forget the name of that one off the top of my head. I don't have a card for him, sadly. But they made up some other names, like here's Ren the Ring Wraith and Adunathel the Ring Wraith. These, yeah, they play a little differently, but they're strong enough cards, and they were fairly sought after. In the book, they talk about the Witch King of Angmar, but that's not a name proper. That's more just the title that the leader of the Ring Wraith says. They don't talk much about who they were specifically before they fell. Orcs of Mirkwood. Here's another. Okay, this one that strikes my interest in part because of the artist here, listed as Stephen King. I don't know if the novelist Stephen King did a lot of drawing or not, or artwork making himself, or if this is a different Stephen King, but that just caught my eye. Orc Tracker, Troll Lout, the least of gold rings, because of course Sauron is also looking for the One Ring. A little gold ring. And here's a minor ring, or a magic ring of fury that it could be. I didn't get any of the bigger ring cards for this in the Lidless Eye itself. I don't know if they were there particularly, or if you just used the versions from the other sets. A black mace as a weapon for your Nazgul. Strange rations. Blow turned. Message must get through. Remnants of old robberies. Water's tie, the old cache. Stabbed him in his sleep. And the Fell Rider. This was a fun little buff to your Ringwraith character. Black Rider. I'll report you in fighting among the orcs to satisfy the questioner. Here's the dark holds. You had Dol Guldur, Bag End. See here, going to Bag End now, if you're the bad guys, the hobbits would try to defend it. And there's quite a few of them. You'd get 5 strikes, but only 5 prowess. And then, if the Dunedain were around, so 3 strikes with 11 prowess, it was dangerous to try to get into Bag End as the orcs or something. Moria, Shadow Hold. And again, you've got orcs who live there. Nearest is Dol Guldur. Here's Karn Doom, another one of the dark holds from Angmar, up in the north. Minas Morgul, another of the dark holds. And the Hermit's Hill, the Blue Mountain Dwarf Hold. Again, you have dwarves who defend that. Ettenmoors, the Vale of Eric. They sort of skipped the whole Stone of Eric in the film as well, where the pledge was made between Aragorn and the men under the mountain who had failed to help the king in the past and then came to his aid. Minas Tirith. And again, you can see they're both working from the same source material in the book, but it's got a slightly different feel to it than what you see in the movie. That jut of rock that is coming out to the front gate of the city and passes through all the rings of the city except the first is much more natural in this depiction, whereas in the film they made it natural, just the base, and then most of it was built. This has a built section right at the top only, as one difference of note. Lassardin Camp. So again, some of the Northerners. Barad-dûr, not a Darkhold, but sorry, it's a shadow. Yeah, it is a Darkhold, but it's not one of the main ones for traveling. Like it's, I forget the terminology difference. I'd have to look it up. Anyways, Urchill. Here's another card that I got it in a Scry magazine. A deadly dart that struck Faramir, and they thought that that's what caused his illness, which was more from just the dark breath of the Ringwraiths than the actual arrow wound. But it's a useful card in the game, as I recall. Just another man, Horseman in the Night, Orc Veteran, Shagrat, other tough orc. And I've given him Orc Liquor to start with, because you could give your starting companions a certain amount of equipment to begin the game with. You're starting people. Anyway. So that's the run-through of most of what I've collected for this game. And it's a fun game, but like I said, it's quite complicated. Sadly, I wasn't able to grab any sealed. It's hard to find sealed for this nowadays. I know one store that had a couple of packs of the dragons and the white hand available, but even they were getting more expensive. And to be honest, I already opened a bunch of the dragons, and the white hand is another tricky set that if I'm going to try and get back into it, I think I'm going to start with the base rules more or less to begin. And that's what I would recommend for anyone else. Now, from there, let's talk a little bit about Decipher's Lord of the Rings game. So, the first set to come out, and it came out just before the first film released, was The Fellowship of the Ring. And the rules they constructed for this are much more simple. You've got a set of 9 sites that you have to travel through with your ring bearer, who in the first couple of years was always Frodo. They eventually made some rules where you could have other people being the ring bearer. Or if Frodo died, Sam was with him, Sam could pick up the ring. That was the only sort of exception in the early days. And you were just trying to survive and get through 9 sites without having your ring bearer killed or corrupted. But that came a little bit later too, I think. So you had to build up your party, and the game was pretty well balanced because you could play pretty much whatever you want if you had the cards in your hand. But the more you play, the more resources you give your opponent. And then they could play more stuff to resist you, the more stuff you played. So it's a bit of a balancing act game. And it was well crafted from everything I've heard. I haven't actually tried to play it myself yet. But I always liked like Lord of the Rings in general. So I finally, back when this first came out, I still had my Middle-earth cards, which I was just showing you. And so I didn't want to get into another whole series based on the movies. I didn't know if the movies were going to be well done or not at the time yet. I was hopeful, and I was already pleased with how the Middle-earth card game portrayed their books. Yeah, it's hard to avoid the reflection from the lights, unfortunately. And it's hard to get it to focus very well.
That's better.
But so I didn't get into this game at the time. I've been learning about it more in the last couple years. And I have picked up a couple boxes of what I could find that wasn't too expensive. And I'm anxious to dig into some of these in the near future here. I'm thinking I'm going to start breaking through these. And I want to try and see how much of the Fellowship of the Ring, the first set there is, that I can collect. I have acquired 2 booster boxes of the Fellowship of the Ring. I know just by the numbers, there's 36 packs in a box. 1 rare a pack, basically, give or take maybe a foil. That's not enough because there's 120 rares, or 121 rares in the set. So I cannot collect the whole set from 2 booster boxes. But I should be able to get, I'm hoping, half or more of the rares, and with 2 booster boxes,
these are the ones that they have a couple boxes in the city?
No.
No, it's a different
In the
set?
city, we found a store that had booster boxes of Return of the King.
I mean from this game.
Oh, it is from this game,
Yeah.
yes. And they had the Ents of Fanghorn and the
Jenny's asking
Gondor
a question, and I'll let you answer that.
Is that MTG? No, that's not MTG. The MTG Lord of the Rings game was this, and it's not. It's sort of a subset. It's just a set they released for Magic the Gathering, with cards with art and theme, with a Lord of the Rings theme. And like I say, the way they have it, Tales of Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings, I'm thinking later they're going to come out with more sets that are Tales of Middle-earth, The Hobbit, or Tales of Middle-earth, Silmarillion, or Tales of Middle-earth,
the Lord of the Rings is done
the Rings
really well
of Power, or whatever they're going to do. It was one of their best-selling sets of all time, from what I've heard. So, yeah.
Well, it got
but before
us back into MTG, so
they wanted to get rights to do a crossover with this earlier, I think, but they never did. So they did their own Middle-earth card game, which is what I spent the first hour of this showing off. And then, after that game had ended, and they were coming out with the film, Decipher, which was a big game company, they did famous Star Wars CCG and Star Trek CCG and a bunch of others. But those two plus Lord of the Rings were their three biggest games, and quite well constructed. They still have fan groups that continue to this day. What's this? Oh, it just on the Lord of the Rings box looked like it. Yeah, well, yeah. There are certain similarities for sure. The Middle Earth game, which you just went through, all had either original art or art that was borrowed from other sources. Because, like I said, some of it turned up in other places. Some of it was done a long time ago. But the Decipher game was all using shots from the film and the film's production.
Another question.
How does the play flow feel for Lord of the Rings? Clunky or well made? For the Decipher Lord of the Rings, I have yet to play it, but from all my research, it seems to look like it plays very well. It's a well thought out, constructed game. It does seem a little bit limited in its scope in that the game will play out. You know, you have the same objective every game: survive through 9 sites before your opponent does, and it's a race basically, and you're trying to stop each other. So that format never really changes. So it can get a bit repetitive in that sense, but they did a good job over the years. They came out with 3 sets per movie. So you had the Fellowship of the Ring, you had the Mines of Moria, and then you had the Realms of the Elf Lords. And all 3 of these were for the first film. These different sets. Then they moved on to the next, and usually you had the first title set. So here, the Two Towers would come out just before the film The Two Towers released. And then, after the film was in theaters for a while, you would get The Battle of Helm's Deep and It's a Fanghorn came out. And they could introduce elements that they didn't want to be spoiled by the card game before the film came out. So in the first film, for example, in Mines of Moria, they brought in the Balrog. The Balrog wasn't in the Fellowship of the Ring. In the second film, that was part of a price tag sticker that I wasn't able to clear off fully. And then
they're sticking.
They also did a reflection set for this. Reflections was something Decipher did with all their popular games. Interesting. How much you paid for the boxes? Maybe we could try and figure it out and do a collab online play. It could be interesting. They are getting pricier. The Two Towers, this box here, which I opened most of, except I left a few packs for this variety box I built. This, I think I paid at the time about $88 US for, but now it's up. That was a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago. Now, everywhere I see them online, you're looking at more like $125 a box. The Star Wars CCG took off in price, probably about 5 years ago. It really started to take off.
Did you get most of these
Lord of the Rings is sort of doing that now. The Star Trek CCG is still much more affordable.
Dalton is offering you some advice.
Dalton, where are we? Super cool, that's a lot of value. Keep them sealed and the value will go up. Yeah, that's usually how these go. And then, so for Return of the King, these are one of the harder packs to find from the original movie trilogy. They had that. They had Siege of Gondor, also a very difficult set to find. And the last set that came out for that film was Mount Doom. Reflections also got worked in here.
Hills, right?
Yeah, most of these we got at Hills Wholesale Gaming. Some of the single packs I had to find elsewhere. Siege of Gondor was particularly hard to find.
Yeah, we'll have another question from Jenny.
Where are we?
Second last comment.
Do you play Magic the Gathering? I do, but I rarely have someone to play with, so I haven't played much in the last few years, to
If
be
he
honest.
played nicer,
I do hope to play the kids a bit more over
if he
time.
played nicer, I wouldn't mind playing with him. But
Yeah.
he's like go for the throat kind of.
Yeah,
player.
I do look for the shortest path to victory most of the time.
Do you have?
In any case,
do you have sample cards of this game?
I do have some in the other
Is it-
room, and there's some in that binder I will get to in a moment.
Okay.
So yeah, they had these three for the third film. Then after that, they reset
play
the game,
MLP MTG.
and they MLP. I don't know. I don't know what MLP stands for in that. But I like to play live in person if that's what you're getting
That
at.
would be cool to get the ring, which is like 2.5 million, I think now. Wait, what? What?
Oh, was that the serialized One Ring? That
Oh.
would have been a cool thing to pull for sure.
The one that Post Malone now owns.
Probably. After they finished the movie blocks,
My Little Pony MTG.
it does exist.
Is there My Little? Is there
We have some. We played it like
MTG?
last.
Magic the Gathering.
Oh, not Magic the Gathering. Sorry, I thought you meant like card
Oh,
game.
she put MTG.
Anyway.
So. We have My Little Pony CCGs.
They reset the game after the three films, and these two sets are still not too bad to find, but after these sets, the packs start getting quite expensive. The print runs got smaller and smaller.
NGX has a question.
And they tweaked the rules a bit at that time as well. So would you say that 220 for four boxes of Fellowship of the Ring is a good price?
And that's probably US.
From what I've seen, I don't know of a better price than that off the top of my head. That's available right now.
You got somebody who is not a fan of the Lord of the Rings MTG.
Lord of the Rings MTG set was such a disrespectful mess. Shame. I was looking forward to it. In some ways, I agree. They did make a mess of a lot of things in the Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings.
So good though.
Some of the art is good. Some of the art is really irksome because just the way they portrayed characters.
Well, yeah, some of that for sure.
And again, it picks up some influences from the films that it doesn't need.
Yeah.
In any case, so that's my little project that I'm looking forward to doing in the future. Is I'm hoping to build at least most of a set from my 2 boxes of Fellowship of the Ring here, and they're sequential boxes, by the way. I got 2 here with. They put numbers on the boxes so you know the order basically they came out of the factory. So I got 2 sequential ones. Hopefully that will cut down on duplication.
Did you know One Piece as a TCG? We don't do One Piece.
I know of the One Piece one, but yeah, I've never collected or played it.
We're mostly a family-friendly channel, and that's not exactly young children family-friendly.
The starter decks for this game also are interesting in that they're a pre-constructed starter deck for most of them. There's an exception to this that I'll get to in a minute. That's a few cards short of playable generally because they have to include the side path, but not bad to get going. And then they include 3 random rares. So you get a pre-constructed deck that's playable, and then where do they say?
Okay.
Yeah, 60 fixed cards, set deck, and then 3 random rares. From, in this case, the Black Rider set, which was after the reboot. The only 2 sets that they didn't take this for were the 2 Towers smaller sets. So, Ince of Fanghorn and the Battle of Helm's Deep. For those, they included the rares into the deck, so it was preset rares with alternate arts. And some of the alternate arts are a nice option compared to the original art. Some of them are actually preferred, I think. But the fact that you didn't get random rares in your starter deck was a blow to the value of the starter decks. And it's those 2 sets in particular that are still some of the easier ones to find because people didn't buy them as much. Because you weren't getting random rares in your deck, you were just getting the fixed ones. But starter decks for the 2 Towers is the Two Towers in general is the easiest and cheapest set to find.
Alias, I shouldn't be watching this now. I want to buy some lots and decks and play.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to learn this game and play myself, but as I lack a lot of people to play with at the moment, my project, like I said, is to build the set from Fellowship of the Ring. Started.
You're getting another. There's another question. Is the Hobbit in that TCG?
The Hobbit. Not directly. Obviously, there's some character overlap and things, but the TCG wrapped up before they got to the Hobbit. They did have concept character designs for some characters that ended up in the Hobbit films, like Radagast, for example. There's a Radagast card, which does not look like he does in the Hobbit film, but was produced by the same company who did design that in the end. So, here's a neat little tidbit. If I can fish it out of here quickly. Maybe not. Anyway, that box of Two Towers came with a fake tattoo that you could put on yourself. Fierce is a keyword in the game. Anyway, these first few pages...
My wallet cries.
I managed to get out of here one of each starter deck for the Fellowship of the Ring. So I started with that. That came with 6 random rares between the 2 starter decks, plus all the cards in those starter decks themselves. So this is the start of my set. You obviously need the 1 ring to play. This is the common version. If I can back this up a little bit more, you can see I got a Gimli up there. I actually did pretty good with my random rares. One of them...
Now I want to play it and then play against
One of them was Celeborn here, was one of my random rares. Another one was Legolas Greenleaf, who is, from what I've heard, one of the stronger versions of Legolas, in that his archer ability can let you just target an enemy and you exert him to do it. So he basically takes a hit to put a hit on any enemy, which is a useful ability. There's the common version, who just comes in one of the decks as well. Or uncommon, I guess, technically. I also got Boromir, who you can see here, as one of my rares. Out of the... Oh no, this was the uncommon Boromir. This is the rare Boromir that I pulled as one of my rares.
Who needs rent money? Lord of the Rings TCG is a very reasonable priority.
Well, there's that, you know. I did pick up most of these, like I said,
Jenny's also big.
over a year ago when the prices were a little lower. Awful time to get into this hobby that many years after it's been out of print, but sorry. Jenny?
Yeah.
Now I want to buy this and then play against you. That looks like Universe is Beyond. Universe is Beyond is, yeah, Magic the Gathering Universe is Beyond, Tales of Middle-earth, Lord of the Rings. That's the Magic one. Incidentally, another cheaper thing, like I said, Two Towers of the sets is the single cheapest set to still find seal product of. They also have these little draft packs, which I find intriguing. Basically, it's a really fat pack, a 29 card pack that's almost entirely commons, split half and half between light side and dark side, so it's good for building a random deck if you've already got your Sights and Ring Bearer and Ring card ready to go. And then you would open it plus some other boosters, or I suppose you could do it with a starter deck and build your decks out of those. So that was another interesting product.
Alias really doesn't like these.
Yes, well, I don't think it's the best portrayal of Lord of the Rings.
For sure.
As a portrayal of Lord of the Rings, I think the Middle-earth card game that we started with does the best job of portraying most of the elements in the book. This card game does a great job of the film, and the film does a decent job of dealing with the book in the time period they had to work with.
Tank's here.
In terms of its limitations.
Tank has entered.
Welcome, Tank. So I'll just thumb through this quickly. I'm sort of skipping
It's better
because
than the animated movie. Oh my goodness.
the animated movie, yes, that we've talked about that briefly.
The whole thing. I tried and I couldn't.
It's tough. I got a couple of rare orcs. I got the Uruk Lieutenant was one of my rares, and where is he? There was another orc. One of these is the Shaman. No, not the Shaman.
Need says it has a good song in it.
Where there's a whip, there's a way. Great motivation. I used to use that on some of my students when I was a teacher. Yeah, that's great motivation
Alias
right
says,
there.
I mean, the book and the film are great. I meant the Universe Beyond Lord of the Rings set. Yes, we get that.
So yeah, I got 2 orcs amongst my rares. They've got Goblin Runner and stuff like that. So those Fellowship decks had some useful stuff in it. But you can see all the holes I have here to fill in, and hopefully those booster boxes.
Oh,
I don't know when I'm going to start. My
my
thought
goodness.
is to start some of this if we get a chance on our celebration stream for hitting 1,000K. Maybe doing it a half booster box at a time so that I have a chance to sort of fill in some of the binder here and just work my way through the 2.
Jenny's comment. And now I have a song stuck in my head. What about we're taking the hobbits to Isengard?
Well, that wasn't from the animated movie. That was a clip from the Peter Jackson films that people just went ham with on YouTube.
That's now in my head. Now that every time I see that line, I have that video in my head.
It's a very memorable little project that the guy did. Absolutely. So yeah, I've got a lot of holes to fill here. This was one of my other rares. I got Farmer Maggot.
Oh my goodness.
You just see the scythe in the movie, so you don't actually meet Farmer Maggot.
This is pretty cool. Better than MTG version.
As a portrayal of the story, I would tend to agree. Absolutely. MTG rules don't really work well with Lord of the Rings because for legend rules alone, you could have 3 different versions of Frodo in play, and so could your opponent. Like, it just doesn't make sense. The rules for this game were crafted to try to mimic the story of specifically the Fellowship of the Ring. In the Two Towers, it follows okay. It gets a little bit wonky by the time you get Return of the King in terms of following the story, but it's still a better adaptation by far than just slapping Lord of the Rings theming on a game of Magic the Gathering.
But even with all the faults, this is like the first that really got us someone interested back in MTG.
I would say that in terms of mimicking the story of the novel, this Decipher game also did a better job of that than the Middle-earth card game.
Yeah.
But it wasn't able to incorporate as many elements. So I like the Middle-earth card game for flavor more, but it looks like the Decipher game is stronger.
My friend adopted me. I'll play with you.
As a way to play.
Jenny's asking about the Doctor Who crossover with MTG. We never really got into that.
To be honest, I'm not as big a fan of the Doctor Who series. I don't follow it. I never did much, so the Doctor Who crossover never appealed to me that much. This basic Common Sam from the first set, right through the whole movie block, I think was a key player. It's a very strong card from my understanding. And then we're into Sights. Sights look cool as foils. They're almost all uncommon, I believe. There's probably some common ones as well, but Sights generally weren't rares, which was a great improvement over the Star Wars card game and Star Trek card game, especially their first sets, where all their locations, well, not all, but a lot of their key locations were rares, and that's just disappointing to pull as your rare in both those games. So I'm glad they fixed that with their Lord of the Rings game here. Anyway, and then towards the end here, these were the 2 cards that were unique, the promo cards to the 2 starter decks. So one of them was an Aragorn-themed deck, the other was a Gandalf-themed deck. So that's the only way you could get these 2 cards, unless you pulled them as a foil from the packs. And how they did foils at this time was the entire set was foiled in a booster box. Basically, you had a 1 in 6 chance from any pack of there being a foil. So statistically, on average, out of a 36-pack box, you would pull 6 foils. You could get unlucky and be short 1 or 2, maybe. you could get really lucky and have an extra foil or two in there from the 6 you'd expect. And in terms of distribution, you would get 3 common foils, 2 uncommon foils, and 1 rare foil per box. That's the general rarity of them. The promo cards could show up in the common slot, I believe. But they were only on the common sheet twice, if I recall. So they weren't quite as common as most commons, but you could pull these cards as foils from those packs, in theory. That's the only way you'd get them, is if it showed up in one of those foil slots. Does the game run on character-based decks like DC Universe, TCG, or theme-based like MTG? I'm not sure quite what you mean. I didn't play DC Universe TCG, but you always have your ring and your ring bearer. You pick what companions you're going to run with and what strategies you're going to build around. You can only have up to 9 companions in your deck, I believe, at most. Maybe you can have more, but you can only have played that number. The deck is split 50-50, and it's a balancing act game. The more stuff you play to support yourself, the more you allow your opponent to play against you. And then it's a race to get through the 9 sites. We're still in our D&D session. Okay. So yeah, that's my basic understanding of the rules. And like I said, I haven't actually gotten to building my first decks to play yet. I got a few cards here from the second set that I just picked up because they looked interesting and potentially useful. So it was in the Mines of Moria, the second set, that they released the Balrog. So there's a common version and a rare version. I grabbed one of each of those. Singles for this game are still generally pretty cheap, except for a few tournament staple rares that are getting a little bit more expensive. But to just build some basic decks, I'm pretty sure you could do it for a reasonable amount of money for this game. Where do you normally get cards? A lot more affordable than trying to buy sealed product.
Where do you normally get the singles from?
I usually, my go-to site if I'm looking for singles for this game is a online store called Category 1 Games. They do a great job in keeping a good number of things in stock, giving it, you can get an estimate for how much things you'd expect to pay for. You can find lots and stuff on eBay or places like that to be sure as well. But if I'm just looking for a store to look stuff up, that's where I usually go, is Category 1 Games.
Alias says the 6th card from the left to right looks like smeared Cheeto Cheetah. I like it.
6th card from left to right.
From left to right.
There's only 3 cards here, but are...
which one? The red one? Or the ring at the end? Or
I guess this... confused. Which is one of the Balrogs when he's just bursting out in flames. But yeah, there's a lot of fire on this line in general.
It's not focusing very good on that card.
No, here I'll do my old trick here to try and focus a bit more. But there's different versions of Bilbo as an ally. And allies don't really join your fellowship, they stay at a home site. Bilbo. And sometimes they have actions that they can do from there. There's the second version, there was a common and rare version of Frodo in the first set, but this was the version you got in the second set. Merry, Pippin. I grabbed most of the hobbits because they're main characters. You can get some other hobbits, Old Noaks and Meriadoc. You're having technical difficulties again?
The internet is...
I grabbed some of the more interesting looking sites as well. So you've got places like, this is site 1. They're all numbered in the first edition from the movies until they did the reset of the rules where they changed what order you could play things in a different way. They were all numbered. So this would be site 1, Hobbiton Party Field, or Hobbiton Woods. You pick one of those as your site 1, or Town Center. And then later on you would get to site 3, site 4. There's some different options. You site 6, Cariscalathorn, site 7, the Great River. And by the end of the first movie, site 8, you're getting close to the end there. Site 9, At the end of the film, you get the wastes of Imran Moyle as Frodo takes off to continue his quest. A couple of other cards I thought might be useful, or that I just pulled from somewhere else.
Alias made another comment saying that he loves the scroll-like layout.
Yeah, it's nice.
I like the backs of these cards a lot.
It's a pretty simple design, but yeah, the back design is nice for the general, gets the idea across. And then here's from the third set, so also if I'm just playing Fellowship block, that's the other thing. The legality of this set, usually you play by film, so you play Fellowship, and you play those 3 sets, or you play Two Towers, and you play those 2 sets, or there's a set format where you can combine those 2 together, or there's a format where you can get and play all 3 of the movies sets together. Print, right? No, this set ran. The first set came out in 2001, and through 2002, they were releasing sets for the first film. The end of 2002, they released Two Towers. End of 2003, they released Return of the King, and into 2004, that was when, and then they did the reset. So this game lasted basically until Decipher closed its doors. The company went bankrupt in 2007, I believe. So it ran from 2001 to 2007, a decent run, lots of good stuff out there. But
and then they never had a chance to do The Hobbit.
Well, then no, they were defunct before then, sadly. These are the Frodo and Sam from the last set in Return of the King block.
I love Sam.
And they had special collector boxes you could get. This is from Return of the King, where they released some of the famous cards from that block in Elven. So Twangar, or whatever it was called, specifically. So you got Elvish versions of these that came in those anthologies boxes. So I picked up the Return of the King one because it was easiest to find. And so you got Elisar, you've got Shelob, there's Peter Jackson's character, Castamere of Umbar, I believe, as a raider. You've got all these rare cards, but in elven form, so you got to really know your stuff if you're going to try and play with these, and so would whoever you're playing with. You can, of course, look them up, but it was a neat option for them to add to their anthologies box, and I picked up a few samples, and this binder, like I said, is going to start with my set of Fellowship of the Ring. We'll see how far that gets, and it ends with the last set they released, which was an all-foil set called what was it called? All Things Must End? I don't know what. Age's End.
And now I'll just play Aragorn and say that it says I won. Fair and square.
Well, these 2 here are neat promo cards that I found. So this was one that they did as a promotion for the Return of the King. Apparently you would get one of these when you were going to go see the Return of the King in theater. Redeem your movie ticket from Return of the King for a free booster pack. Go to Decipher.com to find a participating store near you while supplies last, limit 1 per customer. So if you went to see the Return of the King, you could bring your your ticket that you went to see it, and presumably this card to show you the deal, to the participating store, and they would give you a booster pack for going to see the film. Neat idea. And this one came out during the Two Towers block at some point. This would have been right after Return of the King, sorry. And it outlined their plans for the coming years, which, sadly, that last one is correct. That's when they went bankrupt, and Age's End, I've got in this binder what they released there for that. Siege of Gondor was the next set they released. Mount Doom got delayed to set 10.
I'm just a bit late for that ticket offer.
Yeah, me too. Mount Doom got delayed to set 10 because they released a reflection set in there, which had a few new cards as foils. I've got I don't have any of the rare pluses, but I've got a good selection of the rare foils from from the reflections in this binder as well. We'll get to those in a moment. And then their reset with Shadows, Black Rider, Bloodlines. That block got released. I don't know about the time frame, but more or less in that order. They had some other special products. Hunters was released. Rise of Saruman was released. Treachery and Deceit was released eventually, but these were getting more and more delayed, less and less play tested, some very broken cards in there, and very difficult to find and expensive now. And they never got to the Great Eye or Shelob's Lair. The company fell apart before
that would have been cool.
Basically, they were going through the films again, but this time, and these are some other promos and things that I picked up in just a random batch here. There's another foil Earmere and Shelob version. Anyways. Where are we here now? This is... Oh, these were some cards I got from the other Black Rider starter. Again, after the reset. Before this, the character versions that you've seen up till now in the binder had, in the bottom corner here, a signet. So it could be a Frodo signet, a Gandalf signet, a Theoden signet after Two Towers, or an Aragorn signet. And there were certain cards that that would affect. From this point on, though, they ditched the signets, and each character had a corruption counter. So all the counters, all the different characters could be burdened sufficiently to become corrupt, and if that happened to your ring bearer, obviously you lose. So that was a new feature that they did in the update, as well as the whole tweaking the system with the locations.
Alias likes the Amir card.
These are ones that I got in that. So I got another Balrog from set 12 here, because you can see the numbering systems. 1 was Fellowship of the Ring, the first set. 2, and that's the first number. Then you got an R here, because it's a rare. It could be a common, it could be an uncommon, it could be a premium or promotional card if it's a P. And then the number of what card it is in that specific set. So it's a handy way of denoting what card is from where. I also got a Faramir from that deck. And yeah, Troll's Keyword was my other rare in the Saruman themed Black Rider starter deck. And I haven't opened this one here yet, so I picked up one of it as well. It's still fairly easy to find on some sites anyway. And there was the Saruman card that came in the Saruman deck. And the locations, which you can see, instead of being just all numbered from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, now it's your starting site 0, and then the 1s, 2s, and 3s. And you could play them in any order, I think, as long as you played your 1s first, then your 2s, and then your 3s or something. They made it more flexible for strategic reasons, but from story-wise, you're jumping around in a way that doesn't really make sense. So a lot of players didn't like that, and that's one of the reasons why the reboot after the films didn't take off so well. These are some of the regular rares, not rare pluses, from Reflections. So you got Lindar, the Dwarf Lord. Here's one of the Dwarf Rings. Ring of Retribution. Bearer must be a dwarf. Here is the Elven Rope. And these are all foils, because the Reflections set, you got 2 foils in each pack, and they were all these new cards, plus a selection of cards from the previous sets. Pizza is good. Yes, I agree. Then we've got the 3 elven rings here.
Poison.
Vilya, Ninya, and Narya. And you can see the design here. All that's said about it in the book is that it's got a blue stone, and that each of them had their proper stone, and they're given brief descriptions in that way. But the design here of Vilya, compared to the one from the Middle-earth game that I showed earlier, quite different. And that's all just up to different people's interpretation. Then we've got some Palantir here as well. The Seeing Stone of Minas Anor and the Seeing Stone of Orthanc. The one from Minas Morgul is also in this reflection set, but it's one of the rare pluses, and it's quite expensive because it's strong, I believe. Horn of the Mark. And I've got a Horn here as well, if I ever decide to try it and play with the Ents.
If I sub again, it'll unsub me.
Alright, and here we have, I mentioned before, I started opening this box of 2 towers. I just saved 6 packs for this variety box that I built here. But these were the 4 rares that I pulled from it. So here's a common rare. Sorry, not rares, foils. You average statistically 6 foils out of a box, and I pulled 4 so far. So I got a Dunling Robber, which is a common. I got Night Without End, an Elven event, which is a rare. And I got another common foil, Defend It and Hope. And my uncommon foil that I got was the Riddermark. Almost all the locations look nice as foils, in my opinion, especially ones that have water in them, like if there's a river or something. Looks very nice. So yeah, I've only pulled 4 foils out of that box so far, and I left 6 packs for the variety box, so there is a good chance that there might be more than 1 foil in there. From the 2 towers, anyway. And then I've got the cards here from that Age's End final box they released.
I love Gimli.
And that was set 19, the final set they released.
I think
so they made a version of the One Ring.
Gimli's probably my second favorite character after Sam.
Yeah, Gimli's quite a fun one, to be sure.
Oh, my Papa Tolkien is the art artist for this game.
It is very nice. And for some of the cards, especially from Reflections and on, they went back to Weta Workshops and got them to, release stills and stuff for tested costumes and things that they were working on, some of which didn't get used in the movie. So,
it's John Rhys Davies. Like, that man is an amazing actor. He really brought Gimli to life.
Decipher in general, right from Star Trek, they were good at making card games. Like Star Trek, their first big hit, released in 1994, the year after Magic the Gathering. The big boom in collectible card games happened in 1995, so they were one of the first ones out of the gate. And they were very good at graphic design, making a card look nice. That was one of their strengths, for sure, even from Star Trek, which came out, 1994. This didn't come out till 2001, so a good 7-year gap there. But
look at that handsome beard. I wish I could grow such a beautiful, poetic statement on my face.
That would be nice. I agree. A beard can add a lot to someone's appearance.
Yeah, early Star Trek was pretty basic but fun.
I agree. I think that as time went on, they added more and more rules. It got a little bit crazy, but there's still a lot of fun to be had there, and it's still one of the more affordable card games. If you are a fan of Star Trek, I would recommend picking up a box at Premiere and just building some decks out of it, because they're not too expensive to find, and that's something else that I'm hoping to do another episode on at some point, is the Star Trek collectible card game, because I really enjoyed that as a kid. And of the big 3 Decipher games, it is still the most economical if you're looking for sealed product. The singles as well. I'll just go through the rest of this here. And this set here, was just released as a box set, and you got one of each card. So easy to get. So in this binder, I'm going to have working on the first set. I probably won't get that finished, but I'll have a good selection of it. A few things in the middle, and then finish off with the last set they released.
I don't know what Alias's last comment is.
And here's my 4th version of the Balrog. Yeah, he's quite a beastie. Sorry.
Alias's last comment.
Best I can do is Machiavellian Pippin as well. No. Sorry, the thing jumped as I was reading. Yeah. Where is
Villain Goatee.
Villain Goatee.
Oh, Goatee.
Yeah.
I was reading Goatee. I wasn't reading Goatee.
Yeah, usually I used to always have a goatee, but over the last year, I misplaced my razor for a while, and I've gotten a little bit more substantial of a beard since then.
I still think it'd be fun to shave and see what Ridley thinks.
A cane and some wingtip shoes. Yeah, that could help for sure. My favorite item from one of them was when Legolas took down the elephant and Gimli told him it still counted as one.
Yes.
That's one of those things that's just over the top for me.
But I loved it.
It was a cute line in the movie.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where they just turned Legolas into too much of a superhero. For my tastes. Reaching tentacle, strong tentacle, and there's the Watcher in the water that they're associated with. And then you've got a pit troll. And Troll of the Deep. The cave troll from Fellowship of the Ring was one of the stronger enemies that you could get in that as well.
Is the Ents box from this set as well? Or is that from a different game? The Ents one
that we saw in the city?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from this game. That's part of the Two Towers block.
Okay.
The Ents of Fanghorn set.
Those boxes are so expensive.
They are. Which is why I probably
magical monkey paw that grants wishes.
Probably won't be collecting a whole lot more of this sealed, but I've gotten a few things. If you saw the thumbnail for this video, which basically showed what I was able to get that wasn't too expensive.
Alias says nothing is as over the top as I was screaming in the theater when Aragorn stormed in with the ghost army.
Uller Utelia. Uller.
I think you missed me reading that.
Oh, sorry. Nothing is over the top. Aragorn stormed with the ghost army. Yeah, they overdid the ghost army big time. In the book, the ghost army is scary and it freaks out the pirates, but it's actually the armies of the coastlands that take control of those boats and bring them up.
I think they probably did it the way they did to try and save time.
I think that's it. I think it was just a time-saving measure to get through, because there was a lot they had to cover.
If they did it the right way.
Yeah, that's and I can only fault them so much for that, because you are time constrained in making a film, and they took as much time as they could probably get away with. They were all 3-hour plus movies, basically. So that's my little binder of
time-saving measure in a 3.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
And then there's the extended edition.
Pretty much. Yeah, so there's that. And like I say, that's a future project for me, as I'm looking forward to digging into these Fellowship of the Ring booster boxes and try and work out this set for myself.
You said you're gonna
and then build some decks from any doubles I've got, because that looks like fun.
You said you're going to try and do that for our 24-hour stream that we do?
That's one of the things that I have in mind as a possibility, anyway. We've also got...
It was awesome. I was screaming of excitement.
We've also got this, which we may tackle.
Take it away. Alias does not like it.
Yeah, he doesn't like that, I know. If we ever get to 2,000 subs, I also have one of these that I'd like to open.
Blasphemy.
The art isn't as bad on this one, because this is classic art that was made before they decided to put it on Magic the Gathering. This is one of the arts from the Hildebrand brothers. So I do appreciate that, at least. But
2,000 subs and monetized.
Well, hopefully. As for a taste of opening things, if anybody wants, I could open this up today, and I could probably open up one of these today, if people are interested.
What are these ones?
These are the tower draft packs. This was for if you were building a deck out of sealed product for an event. So everyone would get a few packs to build their deck out of to play.
Okay.
I also have stuffed in here a bunch of other packs from other Decipher games. So there's the Star Wars Decipher stuff. We're not doing that today. And then there's
Mateus Passos. Were these coming out
more
at the same
obscure
time as the movies? Yeah, the
Mega Man,
the movie themed one was
whatever.
coming out at the same time as the movies, right? Or shortly after, or
The Decipher Lord of the Rings game were coming out contemporary as sort of a promotion with the films. So Fellowship of the Ring here came out just before the first movie released, and then the other two sets of that block throughout the following year, and then Two Towers released just before the Two Towers film released, and then throughout the rest of that year, the next two sets of that block. Same with Return of the King. After they wrapped up the sets for Return of the King, they reset and tried to do it again. Unfortunately, that didn't work out as
you
well.
had a couple more comments at the end there.
Oh, blasphemy! Yes,
No, that
there's
one
blasphemy.
yeah, that one.
Sorry.
Alias.
Were these coming out at the same time as the movies? That's what I just answered.
Yeah.
My wallet ran away. It's trying to prevent me from getting this gorgeous sets. It's probably a lot cheaper to just get a set, honestly, or just a few singles than to try to get sealed product. Ayo, was that a Street Shark on the Mega Man package? Might have been. Cool. Angie, darling, have you seen any nostalgic cards out of the shops when you pick up packs? I'm not sure.
We haven't been to a shop in a while.
Welcome in, Matthias. Are you taking the Hobbit's
Boy,
ties
I'm so lost
and guard?
right now. there's a lot of questions happening right now.
Yes, there are. I'm trying to keep up with some of them. Anyway, I'll show a few more of these because I grabbed a few other
and Jenny's
packs.
back
This is all from the same company that made the Lord of the Rings game. They also Wars when they lost the license to Star Wars.
You're so lost.
They took the rules of the game and tried to make their own game based on that game engine.
Oh, okay.
With their own intellectual property. It didn't pan out so well, unfortunately.
So
There's another.
First of all,
Young Jedi
Jenny
was another
asked
Star
a
Wars
question
related one.
asking, "Are you taking the Hobbit's ties and guard?"
Probably just a take on to Isengard.
Oh, okay.
Whether it was a spell correct or whether it was supposed to just sound like it as a trick.
Are you
Anyway.
taking the Hobbit's? Okay, yeah, okay.
So should I open these?
Just a second. Then Boyd was asking if we've heard of the game Nostalgics. I've fallen into the back rooms or forgot my... I don't even know what... Oh boy.
Yeah, Dot Hack was one of the games Decipher came out with as well.
Alright.
We got one person who says yes. We got two people who say yes.
Do it.
Alright.
Go ahead.
Like I say, the draft pack, we'll start with that. It was made for building a draft deck, so it's...
Rip them packs. Thanks, says giveaway.
I suppose we could do a giveaway.
We could do a giveaway. What do you want to give away tonight?
Oh, probably some of the cards from this pack. I think I want to keep the rare because I don't have a lot of rares,
Okay,
but
so
the
we're gonna
commons
keep
would
the
be
rare.
free game if people see characters they like.
Just do it. Alright, well I can get,
So it looks like we've got some Isengard orcs in this pack.
Okay, what the heck is it?
We got an Uruk-hai raiding party. Oh, we're into Southrons, actually. Southron Bowman, Archer. That was a meme, yes. Taking the Hobbit's Isengard was a meme, for sure. There are probably other ones. Yeah, and the Duet. Yes, that's a Star Wars meme, for sure. Looks like meat is back on the menu, boys. Yeah, there we go. Desert Spearman.
What should we put as
Desert Warrior. This is a very heavy Southron pack, apparently. Easterling Infantry. Easterling Guard. Easterling Axeman.
Oh my gosh, lots of comments or go away for a second.
Easterling Lieutenant. Giveaway. Do you ship to Brazil? We've never tried.
We've never tried. We could try. Who's in Brazil?
I'm assuming Mateus.
Okay.
Is anyone left in the Easterling, or are they all in that pack? Well, it's all the commons, basically, I think. They wanted to make sure you had enough characters to play with, so these are very character-heavy packs for these draft packs.
Shop in the
Easterling Lieutenant. You do get some repeats as well sometimes.
I'm not sure if I shipped anything to the UK yet. I might have.
Do I shop in the UK? Well,
she means
ship. I don't know. We can try it for sure.
I've shipped to New Zealand.
Easterling Guard.
So we can try.
Easterling Infantry. Desert
Brazil
Warrior.
ships you.
And now we're into our hero cards. We got Aragorn, Heir of Elendil.
Is anyone left in Easterling, or are they all in that pack? Aragorn.
He's a good character to have, a little expensive to deploy.
He did such
You're
a good
starting
job.
Fellowship, just so you're aware if anyone's not familiar with this game. You get your ring bearer, he has the ring. Then you can pick up to 4 points of other characters to start in your Fellowship to support him before you get going and playing other things. So Aragorn could be your starting Fellowship beyond your ring bearer, and that's it. You could just take Aragorn. He would be all of it.
He is a role model. I have failed him. He's kind of unkeepable.
Then we've got
Viggo Mortensen is such a good actor. He did an amazing job in that role.
Defend It and Hope.
I will never take back.
And again, this is a what are they called? Numenorian men faction card. So it plays on that type of men, like Aragorn is, and Boromir is, and Faramir. But they weren't in this set. Well, Boromir was. Boromir's Gauntlets. Defend It and Hope again. Another Aragorn. If you had a double in your hand, you could play it.
Even better looking.
You could play it to heal one of your people, by the way. Oh, we've got elves. We got Haldir. See, Haldir only costs 2. We've got Supporting Fire.
No. Wait.
Oh, and here's our rare. You can see the rare there. And this is the Desert Lord. Southron Archer. Exert him to exert a companion except the ring bearer. I think this is a potentially pretty strong card, being
I
an
don't
archer.
know who's more handsome.
But
Smeagol or the Mouth of Sauron.
Well, that's something for sure. Now we've got a Rohirrim Heavy Chain possession. We've got Guma. He only costs 1 to deploy. We've got Fight for the Villagers. 2 of those. We've got Halfwine. Another... Oh, this guy's an ally. Horse of Rohan, a possession mount. And Eomer, who costs 3. So you could take... Oh no, he's an ally. What was our other character here? He's also an ally. That's frustrating.
Jenny's really, really going off. Who would win, Darth Vader versus Big Knight? Go from Lord of the Rings.
Big Knight go. I don't know.
Versus the Big Knight go from Lord of the Rings.
Big Knight go.
I don't know what that means.
I'm losing that one too. I know Darth.
I mean Sauron. Sauron.
Okay. Well,
Oh.
it would be tough, but they've got very different sort of systems. You know, one got the Force, the other's got, you know, sort of magical abilities. Assuming wherever they're meeting, both those things still functioned.
Oh my goodness, this is such a
Sauron isn't even reliant on having a physical form, like, whereas Darth Vader is mortal. So I would say in the end, Sauron would come out on top. But
unless Darth Vader could somehow destroy the ring with the Force. Could he like use the force to send the ring through the air into the
Maybe if he knew specifically what to do, but that would defeat Sauron. It wouldn't destroy him, and Darth Vader is still mortal. So
No, I'm saying if he could use the
I
force
don't
to
know.
send the ring to the lava to melt it where it was made. Anyways, Sauron would slap Darth Vader the whole Valor.
So I don't know if we want to do a giveaway. Do we just want to like look at interesting characters? So like Aragorn and Éomer. We didn't get any hobbits in this pack. We didn't get any.
Didn't. Let them pick like 2 or 3 cards, whoever we pick for winning, or I don't know. All right, we need to pick a command to give away. I love both, but one is powerful wizard and the other is a semi-eldritch horror Satan-esque being.
Right.
What should we? I'm trying to think of a command. What command should we use?
Again, these are neat cards, but like I said, these are designed to, flush out a deck that you're coming in an event. So they're commons, they're not worth a lot. But if somebody does want them, we can send, a selection. If there's,
Alright.
we can start with Aragorn, Éomer, and then if there's other cards here that really stood out to you, I could include a couple more, but...
Just, exclamation mark, LOTR.
Haldir, maybe, is an elf representative. What about Gandalf the Grey versus Lord Voldemort? Oh, goody. More hypotheticals. And again, the Valar thing.
Not Spocat. No. We're gonna do exclamation mark LOTR. Because it's Lord of the Rings theme night.
I'm going to set that one aside.
I got 2 in so far. I only got 2 in. I don't know what's not working. How many people put exclamation mark LOTR? I can't see chat and look at that.
I see a few other explanation parks.
Oh, okay, I got 3 now. I got Becca, Alias.
I got Becca, Tank, Alias. Maybe that's it for now. Yeah, that's all for now. So
Nobody else want these cards? I'll give you how much time? I'll give another minute and a half, I guess. What cards are these?
These are Decipher's Lord of the Ring trading card game cards that came out around the times of the films, and up till about 2007. This particular set was from 2003. We just opened a tower draft pack, and aside from the one rare that comes in there, we're just offering up some of the more interesting cards as a giveaway if people are interested.
If only 3 people want some cards, we could always just
throw in a Horse of Rohan. I don't know.
Let them each pick 1 or 2 cards or 3 or whatever.
I suppose we could do that if we're interested in trying to send lots of packages.
What do we have to do? I'm dancing, but I'm pretty sure you can't see my super awesome dance. No, we're not selling these. Yeah, just exclamation mark LOTR.
Throw in a couple of bad guys, because what's life without bad guys?
Not monkey. Don't confuse people, Boyd. I only see 3 people in, so exclamation mark LOTR, and that's your chance to get in for the giveaway. Because we're pretty much rounding this up, right?
Pretty much, unless, like I said, we could still open this one.
Okay, Tank's in
it. Get
John Doe.
a sense
John
for what
Doe.
one of the decks is like.
I don't know who John Doe is. You do have to be subscribed. You do need to be 18 or get your parents to email us And what else do we have to do? A screenshot
Yep.
of your YouTube channel.
And you'd have to send us an email with your mailing address.
If you win, yeah.
Yeah, if you win, so that we know where to send them.
And accounts older than 30 days would be good. Thank you. So
here's a selection again. If there was something else in that pack other than the rare that really stood out to you, let me know.
all right. Well, I got 4 people in. Given this a few more I'm Batman. That I'm so excited for you. Okay, hold on a second, John. I'm amazed there is still sealed product of this game. Yeah, if you're wanting to get some, I think we can still see it on Hills Wholesale Gaming.
Yeah, they still have a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they've still got 2 towers and Fellowship of the Ring boxes.
It's pretty pricey though. Like, it's getting pricey.
And I think they actually recently had a sale for Shadows booster packs.
So,
and they've got some of the starter decks too.
We only got 4 people in who want a chance at this. So.
I did find a few things at Protomac Gaming.
Okay.
But they're almost
Category 1 doesn't.
They're a lot thinner. Category 1 is more for singles. They don't do as much seal product. Well, they do get some seal product, but usually it's more expensive.
All right. Well, we're gonna pick a few different winners and just go with.
But then again, Hills Wholesale Gaming can also be quite.
Yeah, if your account is not at least 30 days old, shipping. We will have to pass on sending you any cards. All right.
If you want the wrapper, I can send it in the wrapper as well.
You're good, Alias, if it's 2009. All right.
Just for your own interest,
so,
if you want it.
So the first winner we're going to give a couple winners, let them pick a couple cards.
Is that what we're doing, or I thought we were just, going to pick one, but whatever.
I thought we could pick a couple. There was only a few at the time when I said that, so we'll pick one. First person can have the chance if they want the wrapper. And then after that, I don't know how many we're going to pick. We'll just see who wins first. Alias gets Alias. You weren't even. Oh yeah, you were. It doesn't show it after you. Which cards do you want? How many do you want to give them? 2 or 3?
Well, I was thinking we were just picking one winner, and I was going to send these 7. But
how about you just do 2 winners? We'll do 2 winners.
Okay,
let him
2
pick
winners.
which card he wants.
What are we doing? Like pick?
How many cards are there? Oh.
He can pick how many? 3, 4.
4. Give him 4 cards.
Okay.
And then second winner can have the rest.
So, Alias, which cards would you like? These were some of the ones I thought stood out, but if you can remember anything else, that's possible too.
Which 4 would you like? And then we'll pick another winner for the rest.
It's to see people playing the game.
Or do you want random cards? We can just shuffle them and give me random cards.
Hey, John Doe, peace, yeah. I'm hoping to start playing the game after I've gotten some of these open and had a chance to build some of my own decks.
You're alive. I am too tired.
Nice one.
Where'd Alias go?
He's still there, but he hasn't picked anything yet. Maybe he's typing things out, or maybe he's gonna...
Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna pick a second winner, so...
Do you want the Aomir and the Aragorn, or should we...
Alright.
Wait, I want something? Yes, I want to thank the manager and make up the Great.
Okay, what 4 cards do you want out of these?
Or if there was one of the other ones in that pack besides the rare...
Pick... And the little people. Should I just pick a second winner after, so they know? Or... We will pick a second winner after Alias picks
his 4 cards. And Alias, do you want the wrapper?
We can just pick random for him.
We could just send him 4 random cards.
Void gets in it.
Aragorn, Aemir, and whichever else.
Okay, so we'll pick 2 random.
So Aragorn, Aylmer, and you want the horse and the Boromir's greaves to go with them, sort of?
Okay,
I guess that makes
here.
sense. I picked. There we go.
Oh, you picked. I was gonna do random. All right.
And then there
The
was...
wrapper, yes.
You want the wrapper? Yes or no?
All right. I'll pick the next winner. Next winner is John Doe. All right. So, exclamation mark email to email me. Make sure you take a screenshot of
What else do we got
your
here that we can throw? I think there was a
YouTube
second...
channel.
I think there was a second copy of Aragorn, so we can throw that in for the next 4. And just call that the winnings, if he's okay with that. Haldir, Aragorn, and a couple of bad guys.
Yeah, John Doe still has to, you have to be here to claim your prize. You were in it. You were in it.
Sure, send
Pink.
the wrapper. Okay, so he's got the wrapper.
Okay, sounds good. If John Doe's not here, then we have to pick a new winner. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds to claim your win. No, Tank, you're in there. I see your name on here. Here, let me see. Can I just have this for a second? Hold on a second. See, look. See the dots there? You were in there.
Okay.
Is John Doe not?
He hasn't responded.
Okay.
John Doe, are you here?
Another 5 seconds, and then we'll pick a new winner.
Okay.
Alright.
I already found some bangers in the rookie cards. Nice.
Alright, okay, next winner is, since John Doe's not here, Boyd! Okay. Alright,
Okay.
Boyd.
Are these good, Void, or was there something else that caught your eye? So we got Aragorn, Haldir, and an Uruk raiding party, and an Easterling lieutenant. Add that to your pile.
Yeah, I have some stuff for, we started a new pile for Void. Alright, so I gotta, alias, yeah, email me.
Void can let us know if there was anything else here that really stood out to you.
I bet
Heavy chain.
kind of rewind it. Yeah, no worries. No worries, alias. You're good.
Shopping sport. Some more Desert Warners, Eastlings, Southrons. Anyway.
Alright, so that's that.
Clear that up.
So Monday night we're going to be doing your
And
Lord of the Rings. MTG Monday Night Magic.
yeah, just do the exclamation point email to find out the email that you have to let us know where to send the stuff.
It's right
to.
above your name. If you see where Nightbot says our email address.
Yeah, spocatfamily at gmail.com.
That's our email. Or if you want to contact us in Discord, if you have Discord, Becca, just drop your Discord. Because I'm in Becca's Discord under Mama Spocat.
Yeah, just for, as long as we know where to send it, that's the main thing.
Yeah, and we just need a screenshot of your YouTube channel. Yeah. And we'll get things sent out. It might be a little bit because we have to go get kids in Ontario soon. So, yeah, so you can either hit us up in Discord or...
So this is a starter I've never opened before.
email.
I've opened most of the other precons that I could get for, under $10 or so. The fellowship starters that I started that fellowship set with, they cost a little bit more. Each one comes with this starter rule book. Doesn't cover everything, but gives you a gist of the rules and how things work. A little bit of a layout there. The different phases. So this is the Mouth of Sauron deck. And there's the titular card.
They did a good job of making that creepy, but it's not like too creepy that kids would be too scared of
Yeah,
it.
they tried it a few different methods and ended up just sort of enlarging the guy's mouth, basically, digitally. They reworked the factions as well as part of the reboot after the movie block. So you can exert the Mouth of Sauron to play that faction, condition, or possession from your draw deck.
We don't have any of these cards we can write on. It's got to be. Well, I don't know if Alias likes likes Pokemon, but we're gonna write.
And you got our copy of the Common One Ring. You get Frodo.
Where's the? Right.
Looks like we got a Rider's Spears. Corpse Hands. Eomir, so we're running with the Rohirrim for this deck, by the look of it.
I am a TCG player and enjoyer. Okay.
Nice.
Thursdays is usually our Pokemon streams. And
for the mark.
Of stuff. Okay.
Wax. That's for the evil men, I guess that basically is. Measure of Comfort. That's a Hobbit card, that little leaf symbol at the top. While you can spot a hobbit, each unbound companion is resistance +1. Raging Dunlending. War Now Calls Us. Pole Axe. Long Battle Bow. Crooked Townsman. Arid Warrior. While this companion is at a battleground or plain sight, he has strength +3, so got a couple of them. Another for the mark. Brutal Easterling. War Now Calls Us. Frenzied Dunlings. Rohirrim Mount. Couple of them. Bearer must be a Rohirrim man. At the start of each skirmish involving the bearer, each minion skirmishing the bearer must exert. So the bad guys have to each exert, which basically means take a hit, unless it would kill them. While the bearer is at a plain sight, he or she is defender +1. I think that means they can block an extra enemy. Another Crooked Townsman. Overrun. Rohirrim Mount. Frenzied Dunling. Hobbit Sword. Bearer must be a hobbit, +2 to his prowess in fighting. Another Overrun. Arid Warrior. Frenzied Dunling. A lot of repeat in this deck, which makes sense because most decks like to run multiples of key cards. Rider's Spear. Brutal Easterling. You notice the bad guys usually have a higher prowess. In order to wound the opponent, you've got to have more strength. And then, in order to just not take them out completely, you've got to have more than double their strength. Or triple in some cases, but usually more than double. So that's why they usually have a higher prowess number to start with.
I gotta get some cards mailed out.
And then you see the hobbits, they're fairly low base prowess, but they've got more vitality, so they can do more actions. There's the Mouth of Sauron, you get a second copy. Ooh, we got Theoden in the deck here as well with Eomir. That's handy.
I know I started a new one for Void, a new pile.
Another Hobbit Sword.
I think I had to have
Your
a second.
Red Warrior. Alright, we're getting into locations now. We got Fortress of Orthanc. Orthanc. Rider's Spear. We got Helm's Gate. Flats of Rohan. Harrowdale. Pelennor Fields. Pelennor Flats. Stables. Emmonweir. And Northern Pelennor.
Oh, there's Void's pile.
I had no idea what to pick out of my depth
yes,
on this one.
Yes, we are Canadian.
We are indeed. No doubt our unusual accent and vocabulary gave us away.
Well, it depends what
And
part
then
of
these will
Canada
be
you're
my
in.
3 rares. So this is the Sauron faction. I got a Rallying Orc as one of the 3 random rares. He's a lurker. And each time you play another Sauron faction lurker at a battleground or underground site, you may make the Free People's players exert a companion. We've got Cast Out. For each Rohirrim character exerted when playing this, it is Twilight
Nice
cost
orc
minus
reminds
2.
me of my neighbor. Oh boy.
Spot a Rohirrim man and discard this condition to exert a minion. Spot a mounted man and discard this condition to return the exhausted minion to its owner's hand. Interesting. And our last one, we have Blade of Gondor, Sword of Boromir. So +2 strength bearer must be Boromir. He is damage +1. So that means if he beats the enemy in a skirmish, he deals 2 wounds instead of just 1. This is having a hard time focusing for some reason.
Alright.
Skirmish. If Boromir is not assigned to a skirmish, discard a Men of Numenor
It's
card.
probably easier for you to answer
Warn him to have
than me to take
one place
it.
unbound hobbit skirmishing a minion. So those were my 3 random rares from Black Rider set included in the starter deck.
Dino Bates says, thanks, I just heard the accent. Is this TCG new? I've never heard of it. I'm just going to let you answer that because it's easier than me typing it out.
No, it's not a new TCG. This came out initially when the films were released, so starting in 2001 and lasted until 2007 before the company that made it went under.
Okay. Void also says, so if I pull that cast out from my pocket, someone just has to leave my presence. And Tank says, I'm just not sure what cards to start collecting along with Pokemon. Well,
there is certainly a lot of options. There are some advantages to collecting a game which has wrapped up in one way or another and is no longer being made, in that it's a fixed set. You don't have to worry about them constantly releasing new ones. Most games that have been discontinued drop substantially in price. However, the more popular ones, from Decipher, the biggest culprit there is the Star Wars game they had. Now prices are starting to go back up again. On singles, they're still, well, they're expensive for chase cards, but they're still somewhat moderate. I guess you'd say comparable to what they always were back when the game was being run. But sealed product has gotten very nuts. Lord of the Rings is in the process of going up for sealed product. Most of the cards, just as singles, are still fairly cheap. But Star Trek and their other games are still fairly affordable and not too hard to find. There's a lot of other games that obviously are still being supported, and that's great in its own way for sure if you're looking for active tournaments and things. Games that were popular enough back in the day, like the big 3 for Decipher, Star Trek, Star Wars, and Lord of the Rings, have their own players' committees which can organize events. Sometimes they even try and create their own virtual sets to try to keep things fresh. I'm not so into community-based virtual sets and things, but I do appreciate the fact that they like to keep things going and run events. I'll give them that.
Likes the fact that Pokemon's still coming out with stuff, so I'll probably start with something either new or still coming out with new cards.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a new set, I mean, there's Lorcana if you really want, if you like Disney.
Oh, there's
like
lots of things
Disney.
that are coming out right now, too. There's a new Star Wars game that came out just recently called Star Wars Unlimited that I haven't had a chance to explore yet. But there's
lost signal for a while. Had to fight the Chuck E. Cheese rat to get back.
Nice.
Okay, there's something I wanna.
Fair enough.
Where's that magazine? I know it's not related to this, but.
So yeah, we started out again before we got into the Decipher Lord of the Rings, just going over some of the old
Can we show this really quick? We picked this up at Walmart.
Iron
today.
Crown Enterprises Middle Earth the Wizards card game, and that was
we have
what we started with. And
we have somebody sneaking in to say hi.
yeah,
Look what we found today. It's hard to. There we go. I want the Mew one, but this is what I found. So
yeah, we found the Time magazine for the Pokemon special, apparently, for Gengar.
this could be neat if we ever do get to like some sort of convention and there is an artist there or a Pokemon person, and we could get them to sign this.
It could be. Could be neat for sure.
Do you guys collect toys or figurines as well? Not a ton. A little bit. My oldest was collecting the Pokemon stuffies for a bit.
We've got a few amiibos as well, because we do have Nintendo Switch systems, and before that we were on 3DSs and the Wii U and such, and even the Wii a little bit back in the day, so we've had Nintendo systems for a while. So
Dino, if you're interested in Magic the Gathering, Monday evenings is usually our Magic the Gathering streams when he's not working.
Yeah, I've been going through some sets and partial sets that I've collected over the years and just talking about what I appreciate them, the flavor, going through the cards.
Okay.
We've done Homelands, we've done Fallen Empires, we've done Alliances, we've done Portal 3 Kingdoms.
That's actually kind
and
of
Cold
funny.
Snap. I think this week coming we're going to tackle Stronghold, most likely.
We've been booped.
And we'll do Into Decks.
And that's funny.
What's
somebody,
a boop?
Somebody came in and said you've been booped. And that's kind of funny because that's what the kids do to Brindley. They go on her nose and they go boop.
Yeah, they bonk her on the nose with their finger and say boop. And that's a Brindley thing. So that's nice. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, but this was the other card game. And there's again the corrupted version of Gandalf from the White Hand expansion later on, when you got to play as the bad guys more.
We just have to decide if this Thursday whether I'm going to do the Pokemon stream by myself or wait till you get home from work. Because we usually do it at like in the afternoons, our time, rather than in the evenings. So we have to see what people prefer.
Yeah.
Oh no, not a boop.
You know, live action screenshots from a movie, some people think that's lazy. I kind of think the Lord of the Rings Decipher cards look good. But in terms of artwork, honestly, this Gandalf does look a little bit stern and perhaps a little too youthful. But I do think it looks more like Gandalf than this guy.
I do still kind of like the art on this one, though.
I do like some of the art, but yeah, this more recent depiction I just don't think looks as Gandalf-y to me.
Yeah. Well, the wife is heading to bed, so I must as well. Are you guys going to be fine without me? We're good,
Yep.
Tank. We're about
to wrap up ourselves.
So have a good night.
Yep. These, if you do find these, they cost a little more than that.
Were you
obviously.
guys both into card games, or did one of you get the other into it?
I was mainly the one into card games.
Yeah, when we first met, I wasn't really into card games much. I asked Barry to teach me because I wanted to have, some interest that we had similar, and I liked it a little bit, but playing the games, I didn't like the whole I will destroy you and go for the throat kind of playing, which he did. So we just kind of stopped playing, and then we had kids, so we took a big break from games.
Yeah, now our kids are getting a little old enough that
Yeah.
I've started teaching some to some of them. I actually last summer we got to open up a box of Premier Star Trek.
Sounds good, Alias.
Thomas and I built decks and got to play them. He of course went straight for the Klingons and tried to blow up my ship before I could do anything, but fortunately I was able to elude him.
Did you end up beating him in the Star Wars game or Star Trek game?
Oh, in the Star Trek game I did that first one. We haven't done a rematch yet,
Okay.
but I'm hoping one of these days. And the Star Wars game we played, that one was much closer.
But the kids got it. The
how that
kids were the
resolved.
ones that actually got us more into collecting Pokemon.
Yeah, the kids were the ones who really got into
And
Pokemon.
then Crown Zenith came out.
I had built a Pokemon deck back in the early 2000s, just out of the common bin at our local card store, and picked up the odd thing here and there as a throw-in on trades. But I didn't have much
We can probably
Pokemon
switch
cards
that back to us
until
now.
recently.
Do you want to put this back on?
Sure.
Hold up, put this back on before you switch it.
Oh.
Because not everybody saw you.
Oh no! There go my glasses.
Oh no!
Ah ha ha.
Good, they're not broken.
Good. Uh-oh. I'm offset.
Alias is having trouble with his phone, so...
So, whoop.
Oh, okay, hold on.
There we go.
There you go.
The trick is to get the glasses on
So,
after you get this on.
and then we'll just kind of shift this way.
Boop.
And then I will come and say hi. Hello!
Hello. So, yeah. Back at the town I went to university at, they each summer would have a Royal Medieval Fair, and that's where I picked up this. I used to be into theater and things too. I used to have great fun going up to
Too
stuff
bad.
like that. We've actually got a poll on our community page saying who wears this better, me, Brinley, or Ezra. And so far, Brinley is running away with it.
Oh yeah,
I think her cuteness is just unbeatable.
she's pretty cute.
And to be honest, glasses don't really fit the theme as well, so that's a hindrance for me.
Aw, Becca, thank you.
Ezra's adds Mario cap to the top of it.
Oh yeah, he's so cute.
So.
He likes Mario. He even does like the sound effects, like woo.
Yeah, they have good fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love Lord of the Rings, the books. I can find something enjoyable in pretty much any adaptation of it. So whether it's the old 70s cartoon, the Peter Jackson films, I struggle a little bit more with the Rings of Power, to be honest. That one's a little bit too divergent for me.
The acting was just bad in that too.
That too.
And yeah,
there's a lot of things that they mismanaged to sort of
the writing
scale
was
and getting from
horrible.
place to
Like,
place. I don't want to complain too much about it.
yeah, I'm sorry. I was
but-
not I just couldn't get into it.
You know, but most things I can find something that I enjoy
Yeah.
in it. I do like the
I
Middle
talked
Earth
to Vane, he said my
card
package.
game.
Nice,
and the
Becca.
art.
Awesome.
I do like the Decipher Lord of the Rings card game. I was late getting into it. Really, like, honestly, 2003, or 2023 rather. About 20 years late getting into that card game, and I haven't, I'm still working on my collection, and I'm going to put some decks together soon, hopefully, and try playing, but we'll get there eventually.
Something we did today is we opened a Pokemon pack by a waterfall.
That was fun.
So that'll be going up in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really appreciate the old Middle Earth one, even though it's really difficult to get a grasp of and actually get playing, as far as I can tell from the attempts I made when I was younger. It is great for getting in a lot of those details.
Sorry, Alias, we have to show it because we're being asked. Have you seen the MTG Lord of the Rings stuff?
We have seen some of it. We've got some there that we'll probably open at some point, perhaps in our celebration stream for hitting 100,000. Sorry, 100,000. 1,000
100,000.
subscribers.
Let's go, people. Let's
if
go.
we get to 2,000 subscribers and can get monetized, I've also got one of these collector boxes, which I'd love to open because
yeah,
there's some neat stuff in
it
these.
burns us.
I like the old Hildebrandt art a lot better than
We
some
actually
of
got
the newer
these on
arts.
sale. It was still a lot of money, but
Yeah, we actually found these $50 off from the price that the store had.
and then they
had
jumped
listed.
after we got them. We couldn't
They
get
did.
another one before
And so yeah,
because it's 2
But,
hours away from where we have to buy them. Had to buy them.
we don't have the opportunity to pick up much stuff like that, so I'm gonna save it for a while, and we'll open the set boosters for this celebration.
Yeah.
And once we hit another big milestone like that, we'll dig into one of the collector boosters eventually. In the meantime, I am working on planning on digging into the Fellowship of the Ring from Decipher.
We have to plan out our 24-hour
Fairly
stream.
recently as well. Yeah.
And
We're probably going to break it into
put a schedule up.
four
'cause,
chunks.
Yeah.
And hit different topics on one of them. I might do Star Trek for a chunk. I might do Lord of the Rings, Magic, or Decipher.
Maybe some toy openings with the kids.
We're obviously going to do
Lego,
Pokemon for at least one of them. We've
Lego
got
building. Ooh!
a box of Lost Origins we plan on digging into.
The new Lord of the Rings. Never mind.
We've
the
even got
new
some,
Animal Crossing Lego set should be coming out in August. Yes, we are married.
Yep. Have been for
18 years
now. Yep. And 6 kids later, we're still doing all right. So that's good.
Loving the chain coif, more a bucket home myself.
Yeah, I can understand.
Do you have the One Ring from MTG? Not the One Ring. You've got like a.
I got a gift bundle, and it came with, an alternate art version that just sort of came with the bundle.
Welcome in, Joshua.
But,
I think that's the first comment I saw from you. So
at the moment, I'll be happy if I can pull one of the regular versions from one of the set boosters.
Oh,
we've also got this, which I'm hoping to
Harry
do
Potter.
at some point.
Yeah.
It's from Wizards of the Coast, same company that did Magic the Gathering and that brought the Pokemon cards to North America initially. We got the Harry Potter card game, and we got this 2-player starter from the base set, and then we've got some sealed from other sets too that I'd like to try opening this and learning to play with either Angela or maybe one of the kids, and then maybe expanding it with some booster packs from a different set. So that's another thing that we may tackle during a longer-ish live stream, either for the celebration or sometime later. We've got lots of options and ideas, and which ones we'll end up doing hasn't quite solidified yet, but this was another game. This didn't last anywhere near as long as the Lord of the Rings one, which is strange because there's so many more books and movies now for Harry Potter, but they stopped making it after the 5th set, which was Chamber of Secrets, the second book.
Dino says, I was extremely lucky to have pulled the One Ring when the set first dropped, and the card just recently increased in price to over 100, I think.
Yeah, it's gotten expensive. The best pack I ever opened was actually, I got 2 copies of Orcish Bowmasters out of one pack.
We didn't do that on stream.
No, we didn't have. We weren't streaming it at that time.
There was one stream that we did, and we decided to battle.
I got the alternate art one from the portrait at the back and the regular version in one pack.
We did one stream where we decided to do battles by value with Pokemon, Crown Zenith, I think it was, and Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings, and. I won with Pokemon. It was the Mewtwo card from Crown Zenith that I pulled.
I think so.
So, it was very exciting.
Yeah, and I didn't get any particularly big hits on those. And we were just opening set boosters.
It was just fun.
It was fun.
It was something different to do.
It is definitely different to battle.
Yeah,
different games.
Boyd, I remember that one.
Yeah.
The bundle version just looks better.
Well, in some ways it does, but the fact that it's a piece of a bigger piece of art, I find a little bit annoying. But
yeah.
But I do like the bundle version's art.
Yeah.
I'll give it that.
So yeah. I don't know what else. Anybody have any other questions before we finish up?
I do say they'll probably reprint it, is my guess. It's not something that they can easily reprint because of the branding, but like I say, the way they've named the set, the Tales of Middle-earth, The Lord of the Rings, they'll probably do a Tales of Middle-earth, The Hobbit, which also featured the One Ring when Bilbo found it, and give them an excuse to print it again, and that'll probably bring the price back down to earth at some point. But who knows? Or it'll rotate out of tournaments, and that'll drop the price. Normally, any recently printed Magic card doesn't stay expensive for long. It's, my experience. But it does seem to have a fair bit of value now.
It is kind of interesting going through some of your older cards and seeing what, like, some of the commons and uncommons even have jumped in value.
Yeah, some older stuff has really taken off, and some of it is reserved list, but some people think the reserved list doesn't mean anything anymore since they did the whole Magic 30th thing.
And if you do if you like the older sets and Magic the Gathering, go check out our Monday night streams. They're still up. What are the
we
ones
also like to throw up some older cards sometimes on our rated or hated shorts.
Which people really don't like, and they tell us so. Today we had somebody swear And I removed the comment because we are a family-friendly channel, and
Yeah.
it's like, dude, if you
In a
can't
15-second short, they're not happy with having to wait the first few
if you
seconds
can't
before the
watch
card's visible.
if you can't wait 15 seconds for a video, maybe it's
I
not
don't
for you.
know.
I don't know. We try to flip it a little bit early, but
Yeah.
you know.
But I have collected Magic for years, not so much recently. So a lot of the newer last 10 years or so sets, I'm not as familiar with the cards except for the Lord of the Rings ones.
Tell them to go watch Skibidi Toilet Video. Okay, surprisingly enough, wasn't Lucas the one who was into watching toilet videos?
Oh, could be.
Yeah, our 15-year-olds. Autism is fun, and the things that they like. Yeah. Anyways, no, I'm not gonna deal with drama, so that's why I'm just like, okay, I don't need this comment here. Have a good day. So
Yeah.
But anyways, I was trying to make a comment and then you interrupted me. As much as I love you, Barry has done streams covering some of his older sets. What was the first one we did?
The first one we did was Homelands, which was the first set I ever collected.
Homelands,
Released
and
shortly
then
after
we
I started playing.
did what else did we do?
We did Homelands, we did Fallen Empires. Those are the two complete sets I have.
Was Alliances?
Then we did the Dark, which
okay.
I only had a commons set plus a few other random cards, but I love the flavor and it was related to Fallen Empires in some ways. And then we did Portal 3 Kingdoms.
Okay, and then Alliances.
And then Alliances. And then Cold Snap.
Yeah.
And I think we'll tackle Stronghold
so
next.
if I go full of a
And eventually I'll get into some either dual decks or some of my own decks and do some deck sharing ideas and stuff.
So if I go full of a tuck next time, throw yourself in and rid us of your stupidity. Do I get banned? In context, no. If you're being rude, maybe you'll get muted. I don't know. It's Void's decision.
As a movie quote,
Yeah.
There's worse things you can say than fool and stupidity.
I liked that line in the movie. I thought it was funny.
Well, a little harsh perhaps at times, but yeah, Pippins was making some pretty big mistakes early in the film.
Fallen in the Dark, OMG, taking me back.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. A lot of theme in those sets. Not a lot of really strong cards. There's a few gems, but they definitely had a lot of flavor.
Joshua says, I wonder if they'll ever do a crossover with The Last Airbender.
And they had flavor before they really got into the whole novels thing. That I didn't like it when they went into magic novels.
Void. Basically, I'm the hatchet man. Not for shorts, that's not my area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this was something different, and
some tough love. Yes. We're
definitely a bit of a variety stream. Sometimes we do Lego and toy openings and food tastings and things too. But we want to get, some other card games out there for exposure and see what people like. And Lord of the Rings, this I thought was a great way to do it because I get to talk about 3 different games at once, sort of. Well, 2 mainly, but and because we already cover Magic a little bit elsewhere, and we do a fair bit of Pokemon stuff. But I hope we can pull in some more of the Star Wars and Star Trek and Harry Potter as time goes on as well, because they seem fun, and I happen to have some sitting around, so why not?
So yeah, what's the next video we might do? What are your guys' thoughts? Do you want to see Star Trek, or what was the other one you were thinking of?
Oh, we could do Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
I'm not quite ready to do a whole one on Star Wars yet. I have a lot of I've got some old decks, but or we could even
I want more sports. Okay, Void.
Do more Lego and stuff with the kids. There's lots.
We did find some. We'll do some more of that with the thrift store finds. I've got one more pack, 1 or 2 more packs up there.
Or we could do live book readings and reviews. If you really want to listen to me read, it's bedtime with the kiddos. I used to do that more often. I should probably get back to it. But
yeah. But anyways, yeah, so we will do some more thrift store finds for cards. I hope to find some Pokemon stuff, but we found like a small, like that many, and it was like $6 for a little baggie of Pokemon cards. And I'm like, no, not for used.
The book is thicker than War and Peace. Well, that's possible. That's also a fairly large book. Probably depends on how it's formatted.
Yo, book reading, adopt me already. Can you get in trouble for reading? No, I don't think so, eh?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know.
You lost me at baggie of Pokemon cards. Well, it was like no, like they put them in bags. It's like those sports ones that I bought and did the
Well, the Ninja Turtle cards.
and the Ninja Turtle cards with the thrift store finds. Anyways, they only had like a little stack that big, and it was $6. So,
Whoops.
oh, we're not going to show the fake Pokemon cards.
No. We're just thinking of other random odds and ends we've recently come across.
I won some random promo card on a newer channel, and the guy put it in a sandwich baggie. I only put cards in sandwich baggies for people who are buying them off Facebook.
Anyone remember these wax paper wrapped collector card packs from back in the day? We found a bunch from different things. Here's MASH. This one even has bubblegum cards. It'll be
Better
interesting.
than wrapped in napkins and paper tape.
True.
E.T. was my pick.
G.I. Joe.
Also, The Wizard of Oz was my pick. And
Garfield.
I think I said Garfield. Wizard of Oz, OMG, and E.T.
The Muppets.
I think we got Floyd's attention. Junk wax heaven.
Yeah, it's a bunch of variety stuff, and we'll find something fun to do with these. We'll see if anyone's brave enough to try 30-year-old bubblegum strip
not me.
cards.
Not me. Maybe we have to do some
I
sort
might
of,
try it, but I might take some
we
persuasion
might have to do
get
some
there.
kind of challenge or something for
Yeah.
that. Oh, I don't know. Monetized? Once you
There's
get
the-
monetized? What's wrong with that one?
Well, there's gum in with the ET too, except I think that stick's shattered,
Oh no!
so it's doesn't seem to be in one consistent.
You pulled a
Stick.
fistful of my childhood when I grabbed the packs next to the sports.
Yeah, this could be fun. So I'm looking forward to tackling these at some
Yeah.
point in the future too.
We might
Just as a side note thing, we'll probably do pack battles, and whoever wins the pack battle gets to pick which one of these we open first. That type of thing.
Oh, that could be fun, yeah. We could always, next time we're there, grab a couple other packs of other interesting...
Oh yeah, they got
Stuff,
all
just
kinds of
pick
interesting
something.
old cards. They had packs of Donkey Kong cards. I don't even know
Oh, they
where
had
that came
We
from.
never got Mario, did we? No, those ones were like
No.
$10 a pack.
Yeah, they were
weren't
more expensive.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to go all out on something so random. But
I already sent a very heinous MSG in Discord. I ate 31 pieces of gum from 1989 Bowman baseball on stream a few years ago. Bad idea all around.
yeah, well, especially if you're eating it. Probably not quite as bad if you just chewed it and, given up after a few seconds. Oh, man.
Oh man. Yeah. So anyways, make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't already. Sub if you want to. We have a lot of fun coming up in our 24-hour stream. My favorite thing that we're doing, we're opening Lost Origin and hunting the Giratina or the Aerodactyl that's in there.
I guess. I don't know.
And if we get either of those two cards, we gotta think of something awesome to give away. So, yeah, and I don't know if you guys follow Broly Pulls for Pokemon, but Broly Pulls is donating stuff to our channel for our 1,000 sub giveaway. And the mail comes in on Monday, and so we'll see what he's donated. He's a very kind and generous person, and we appreciate him.
Yeah. Might come up with some other interesting giveaways.
It's a puppy.
Too.
They're giving away a puppy.
I've been sitting on a lot of old Magic stuff, so maybe I could find something interesting to give away there too.
That video got taken down. Which video got taken down?
Oh, the one with the bubblegum eating?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
They're giving a Metcha puppy. Oh boy, we have no puppies. Our dog is fixed because he's a service dog.
Right.
And anyone on Switch or who's used to Pokemon Home, I'll be giving away 3 shiny Alolan Raichu from Scarlet. Ooh.
Well, thanks a bunch for coming out for this stream. I think we're gonna basically wrap it up here.
Yeah. A
It's
lot
been
of new
fun.
people that
I
I've
like
seen
having
tonight.
an excuse to dig out some of this, and now that I've given a bit of a talk about what it is, it won't feel so
I'll raid you
strange
on Scarlet.
digging into it. Yeah, I hope I get some good pulls out of that Fellowship of the Ring.
That's gonna be fun.
It is going to be fun. I just have to decide whether I want to try and tackle a whole box at once or just do it a half a box at a time. I think that might be the better way
Yeah,
to go.
there has been lots of new people tonight, and it's
People are
awesome
trying
to
to
get
keep
to
it
know new
organized.
people. Anyways, what else do we want to say? Thursday is going to be Pokemon video day, so we got to think of what we're doing for that day. I do not think that far ahead.
I've been doing Match the Gathering streams on Mondays, and we figured Saturday night would be a good time to do something a little bit more random. So that's hence this idea for this time. So
All right, so what else do we have to say? That's pretty much it. Today was a long day. We spent the day celebrating our anniversary in the mountains. Nothing special. We went to our favorite spot, our favorite falls, and put our feet in the water.
we were hoping to go to the hot springs, but they were closed.
There's a couple fires in the national park, and
Yeah.
they wanted to. That is a very dangerous road to drive down if you're in a hurry. So if they gotta get people out fast, if a fire started up there, it wouldn't be good. So it's very dry here right now.
Yeah.
So rain would be a good thing. So, all right, yeah. Let us know what you want to see us do in the future. We're not gonna do One Piece. It's just not our thing. So,
But we're
But,
keeping our eye
yeah.
on a few other options too. So Isabel seems somewhat interested in Norcana
Yeah.
at times, and I wouldn't mind checking out the new Star Wars Unlimited. And there's a, you know,
now I will
Time and
unsub
budget
before I
allowing.
get diabetes due to sweetness.
but I do like playing all kinds of things. So
All right, so we'll catch you guys soon. Hope to see you again. We do really appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching and hanging out. So
yep, thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, I hope we can look forward to seeing
could
you
raid
again
somebody
when
if
we
we
get
knew,
into
but I don't know who's on
something
tonight.
related. Yeah, is there something Lord of the Rings related, or someone else we know? Probably
Becca
not.
or Voyager or anybody. Do you know anybody else that we could raid? Just go and say hi.
I'll leave you to the details on that.
All right.
I'm gonna take this thing off again.
If you guys know somebody that we could raid, then we can do that. So stick around just in case we find somebody.
Oh, wow.
And basically we say Spocat raid. So I'll see if Pokebin is live. He goes late. I can also see on my end. You having a hard time taking it off.
Yeah, I can get stuck on the bridge of my nose sometimes.
Yeah, I don't see anybody
Woohoo!
really on my end. Kangas Krantz might be. Let's see. No Shank, no Dubs, no Civics, no Bin. Kangas Krantz is live. I've never rated him. How about we go and do Kangas Krantz? Just a second.
How many fans of the book have read the Silmarillion, by the way? I enjoyed reading the Hobbit,
Here.
Lord of the Rings, and the Silmarillion, and later when some of the other more recent stuff came out.
There.
I enjoyed the Children of Hurin, but man, is that a dark story.
All right, so go over to that link right there and say Spocat Raid. And once I see a couple comments on there, then I will comment. And then I'll end the stream as soon as people go over there. All right, guys, we appreciate you.
Have fun raiding.
I'm not saying anything till I see raids, though. So, please go over. Please go over.
Begging on stream usually doesn't go well.
No, I just like to share the love and get over and you know, introduce people. Nope. Like, get people connected. You have to sub and wait 60 seconds to chat. I'm already subbed, so they have it on. Yeah, okay. We getting kicked out? Well, we're gonna end. So go over to that link that I just shared, and go, you know, bug somebody else. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. We appreciate you so much. It's been so much having you here, Alias. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for hanging out.
You got anybody?
Nobody's over there yet.
Oh well.
That's okay.
It was a thought.
I'm gonna it's okay.
we never have great luck with doing raids.
No,
anyway.
we try. Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
But yay, Void's over there. Come on, let's go. Turn the volume up.
This is not cage. Is there another one I don't know about? Just the SR, the full one.
Well, this is different.
The full art.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna say me raid, and then I'm gonna end. So go over there. We love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Not the SAR.
Thanks for coming and joining our chaos.
Okay. Bye for now, everybody. Appreciate you.
Bye for now.
Star with Spocat. What's going on, Void Star? How are you doing? Welcome in. Thank you for the sub.